Hello, welcome to. Sorry, I'm not used to starting. Like, howdy, howdy. No, I was like, I will never say that again. Welcome to the All Hands on Deck Stream-A-Thon, our discussion about Star Trek Lower Decks.
Yay!
Yay!
Woo!
I've
Lower
heard
deck,
Teddy-
lower
Teddy's
deck.
probably going to end up on my lap, and you won't see him as much, so I'll show him now.
Geordie
Oh.
Bear has made his
I haven't
cameo
Geordie Bear
appearance.
seen.
See, I like to call him Geordie LeBear.
Oh,
Right, as you should, of
Yeah.
course, Geordie LeBear.
Yeah.
Shame on me.
LeBear sounds like some sort of wine from Picard's region or something.
That's the
It makes me
competitor
think
of Chateau Picard. The actual good wine. You know, if you want the
Yeah.
good stuff, not the Chateau Picard.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a gentleman's club or a ladies' club, I think, actually here called Le Bear, and it makes me think of
No.
That's not good.
that.
That's hilarious. Well, I've heard that we're trending, or Star Trek Lower Decks is trending, not us. But
Seems like it is, yeah.
I guess this is
And-
working.
and we've heard
We're doing
that
something right
Paramount
then.
has been stalling out at times, Paramount Plus, because so many people are watching it. I did
feel
not
like
expect
someone
that,
at Paramount
honestly.
Plus is going like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, if they follow social media,
Yeah.
they would know what's going on. But yes, and you've got your Geordie LeBear. I've got
Geordie.
Moopsie back there.
got
How's
Tom,
there?
I think we both have Tom Paris plates. I've got
Yep.
I
don't
get the
think you
honor,
see this.
for now at least, having
I've
the
got-
little badgie up
Yes.
here, which
Badgie.
is cool.
my
Yeah, we don't even need that. Sohel could just do his thumbs up like that and smile. Look at that charming Sohel smile.
Well, should we go around and introduce everybody? We do have guests coming later. We have Brandy Jacola and Dan Gunther coming around 11:15, and 11:30 we have Jesse Gender, and then at noon Larry Nemechek. So we've got people kind of coming in and out in a. I did not plan it, but it actually works out perfectly. That somebody comes and somebody leaves. Hopefully,
It was the
So-
cosmic koala.
Yeah.
It was
Yes,
all
I was
part of
thinking
the
Oh,
larger plan.
I should have tried to find
have
a
my
koala stuffed animal to like
Cosmic
have.
Koala drink. It is only 11 a.m.
Yeah,
here,
thanks.
so it's more for looks at this point. But yeah,
Um,
add a little bit of sparkles to it.
it's
So.
it's Saturday. I could drink some of this.
This is also we made it where it was like a little bit more sweet, so it's
Mm-hmm.
got like a little bit of a lemonade kind of feel to it. So it's
It's also it's good. I just made this.
yay
Yeah, I
for somebody who didn't start drinking until like 2017. I'm happy that I actually was able to make something that tastes good.
no, that's fair. Although I like realized I didn't have a shaker, so I just threw it in a mason jar and just kind of tried to shake that.
There you go. That'll do it. That's a
I-
good summertime drink for Memorial Day weekend.
It is
Yeah.
a good summer. It's especially in Texas, we need the refreshing food now.
It is already hotter than hell here.
Yeah. I
We
bought
have
stuff
the
for
weird-
a watermelon salad. That's where I'm at in my summer.
We have a weird cold. Well, actually, May gray and June gloom is what we get here in LA. So it's like the first half of the day is kind of gray. But we had this week was 62 or something at one point. So that's when I went and cleaned my storage unit, because the storage unit gets to be 100 billion degrees even when it's 80 outside. So, but yeah, next week we are climbing into the high 80s, which I know is low for you guys.
It was like 99 here last week, which is
Yee.
crazy for Miami. It's unusual, actually. We don't usually get
Really?
hotter than 90 something, like 95 or whatever.
On-
So
My mom lives in
The
Arizona.
high
And she's been having like,
today
heat
will be
too.
97, but the high on Monday will be 99 degrees.
Someone's talking about
No.
eating pancakes in the, the
All,
chat.
all the
Wondering-
non-Americans are like, what the hell kind of numbers are these people spitting out
Let
with their
me-
stupid Fahrenheit
Let me see if I can
temperatures?
let me see if I can make it into Celsius real quick to
you
let's
can-
confuse
yeah.
people.
That's true. You could do that.
The high today will be 36 degrees Celsius, and the high Monday will be 37 degrees Celsius.
it doesn't
I
sound
put it
as
was like
bad.
it's going to be 141 degrees. Oh, because I put Celsius and referred to Fahrenheit. Like, oops.
Fahrenheit's more
going to
dramatic, I
die.
feel.
Yes. Exactly.
But if
Kelvin's
you're
the most
wondering-
dramatic, though. Like
If
J.J.
you're
Abrams.
wondering,
Oh, yeah.
if you're wondering, is it May a little early for that? Yes, and that's concerning.
16 degrees Celsius was last week.
I love that we started out talking about the weather where we're all
Hey,
at.
yes.
Right,
So
we
we should
got a
probably-
weather report.
Yes, there you go. We should also probably go around and introduce each other or everybody.
Yes.
So if you haven't ever jumped into a Tex-Trek or Trek Geeks video, we are some of the regulars.
Yeah, hi, I'm Fathery. I run the Tex-Trek podcast and YouTube channel, and thanks everyone for being here. Please like and subscribe while you are. But tell us in the live chat what you like about Lower Decks. I'm curious. We got a lot of people here chatting away, so I want some people to talk about like your favorite Lower Decks moments. And
We've got some prompts too for that. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna be looking in the comments for some of the fun stuff to share. So give me some material, people.
Also, if you started streaming the series and you're going to do a binge of the whole entire 4 seasons, let us know where you're at right now when you came to the stream, because I'm curious what episode everyone's on.
I got it playing on the TV in the background, muted, so that no one hears it and gives us a copyright strike. But I think I'm starting the season 1 finale right now. All the world's a stage, right? It's a Shakespeare quote or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Starfleet Sohel, why don't you tell us about your there we go. No small parts. Sohel, tell us who you are.
I am Starfleet Sohail. I also podcast about Star Trek. You can find me doing casual and informal conversations with these folks and some other folks over on my YouTube channel, Starfleet Sohail. So check it out. I'm super happy to be here. I love Lower Decks. I was just like, I think as kind of surprised that Lower Decks was not going to run forever, because I thought like this is the one show that just keep going. But even then, I think I'm really hopeful that this will make a little dent and get the attention of someone, and maybe we'll get some surprises. Who knows? We'll see.
That'd be cool.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I a regular on Tex-Trek. I run our first reaction streams, and I also, as Dramaturg884, post a lot about Star Trek on TikTok, Twitter, other social medias when I remember they exist, among like other podcast stuff.
Awesome. And I'm Aaron Harvey. I am perpetually bringing back Drawn to Trek, which is our Star Trek animated podcast. It's been a challenge lately, but we have some ideas for making it more regular. And definitely whenever we have animated shows on live, we do our reaction. Steven and I do that together, actually. And I'm the author of Star Trek, the animated series episode guide.
Yeah, this book.
Oh, there
Great
you go.
book.
Thank you. I didn't even think.
That was not planned. That was awesome.
I could tell you had it, and it was sitting here. I was like, I'll show for Aaron. That works.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm like, I'm so used to being the person who's just reacting that I'm like being the host is I'm a little off.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah. So basically, we're here today. The point of this, actually, we probably talk about this, is that we're trying to create a blip in the Paramount ratings, and I think we may have done that if we're breaking it.
Yeah.
Lower Decks, Lower Decks.
So the idea is, we heard that it was April 15th. It wasn't even that long ago that Lower Decks has been canceled for season. They announced it as on the same day as the renewal of Strange New Worlds, which was sort of not great for them at the same time. I think that's kind of rude. But so they said that it will be concluding this year, but that's a little bit of a misnomer, as they hadn't planned on concluding. There's no like arc that Lower Decks is finishing off. So we're trying to see if we show enough interest, maybe they'll do a TV movie, like a long trek, as Sean Ferrick would call it. To finish it off. Or maybe another network will be like, hey, people are really liking the show, why don't we pick it up? And the good thing is, even if the people who are currently on the show can't make it, it is Lower Decks, so you can always get new Lower Deckers, which
true.
Obviously we'd like to see our favorite characters, and I'm sure someone of them would return. But I know that, what is it Jack or Jack Wade or Tawny Newsome said that they would love to play. I think it was Jack, that he would play Boimler for 16 more seasons or something like that.
That's kind of a Star Trek tradition, though. Like we watched Shatner and Nimoy age, and then like all of the TNG actors. We followed them from like their 30s to their 70s. So why not do it with the Lower Decks people too?
True. And hey, with their drawn, they can stay forever young.
Yeah. Or you can flash forward to old age. You have a lot of options in the animation realm.
That's actually part of my what I want to see in season 5. One of those a flash forward. So, but yeah, so we are. Let's see what I'm trying. We are at 11:15. Like, in just a few minutes. Brandy Jacola and Dan Gunther will be joining us. They're going to let us know what they love about Lower Decks, and if we, in the meantime, if we want to go around, just start. Where did you? I didn't say where did you first see it, because probably saw it with everybody else. But what was your first impression when you saw Lower Decks? Or maybe before, like what did you think when you heard it was coming?
That's a fun one.
I'll go first and say I was one of those silly people that was kind of worried about what a Star Trek comedy series would be like, and I have to say, like, I think pretty much from episode 1, my worries were quickly assuaged, and I fell in love with all the characters, and I was like, this is like the missing component that I needed in Star Trek. Like, it was perfect. It was like a loving parody, if you will, of something, that we all really care about. And it was spot on. It was like Mike McMahon, of course, knows Star Trek in and out. So when he makes jokes, like, he can really do a nuanced take, or a joke that just like kind of resonates in ways that I
Like the
couldn't
deepest
expect.
cuts too. It's like
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Dan
Hello.
Gunther has arrived.
Hello. The unready room is right here.
Unready as always.
Oh, I feel that.
We're just talking about what we thought of when we heard that Star Trek Lower Decks was coming before we actually saw anything about it.
Right.
And so hey, I was like had the same kind of reaction I did. I was just like, I actually messaged John Van Sitters, because at the time we were working on I think we were just finishing up the book, or it was being published that year. No, the year before. So yeah, we were just finishing up when we heard it was announced. And I said, I have worked all of my life to make, hey, Brandy, to make Star Trek animation not a joke, and now we were literally making a joke animation show. It's like, he's like, just watch it. I know I say that about everything, but just literally just watch this. I'm like, okay. So I didn't say anything. I gave it a chance, and I was totally surprised. I really did not expect what we got. I'm pleasantly surprised, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
welcome, Brandy. So we are just talking about what we thought about Lower Decks before we had actually seen it, and when we heard that it was coming out. What was your reaction?
I thought, finally. Yeah, that was, I thought, yeah, no, this could work. This could work. And even though I know that Mike McMahon was a big deal with Rick and Morty, I don't enjoy Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
but
that was my concern.
I didn't think that was how this show was going to be. I thought, this is somebody that can create a very specific thing within an existing universe, and let's see how it goes. So I had faith that it would be good, and I got way more than I bargained for. I mean, I was really excited, but it blew me away immediately.
Yeah. In addition to the Rick and Morty thing too, like I kind of enjoy Rick and Morty. I've fallen away from it in recent years, but when I found out that Mike McMahon was the guy behind the TNG season 8 Twitter account too, I was like, oh, okay, there we go.
So yeah, I when I first heard about, like I said, that, but was also when I watched it, I was so surprised that there's so much heart to it as well. I mean, it's not just it's jokes, and it's kind of fast-paced jokes. They even made fun of that in the crossover with Strange New Worlds, but it just resonates. There's like I remember when I saw Crisis Point, the first one, and it was just like, wow, she is. I mean, they joked about, oh, I'm going to work some things out, but like, she really is. It was kind of on the level of the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend in some ways. It's that very like deep dive into somebody's subconscious and realizing something about themselves, and just I was surprised, and like how much I felt. And when Shax died, like, oh my gosh, just that just walloped me. And then I was upset that he came back. First, like, hey, you just killed all of our sadness. And it's like, it's Star Trek. They always come back. I'm like, okay, fine.
They were just preparing us for what would happen with Data.
Yeah.
There you go. several times over.
Yeah, that's the
When my
one thing
time
with
comes,
Lower
I
Deck.
fully-
Sorry.
I was just
please.
saying, when my time comes, I fully expect to see the Black Mountain.
Yes.
Expect to see that koala.
The koala.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Shakari and bring you back. It'll be like the search for Spock, the search for Sohel.
I like that.
So what's your favorite thing about Lower Decks? What do you guys just vibe with?
I think for me, and actually just had this conversation with a friend the other day, who I introduced to Lower Decks. It's genuinely funny. Like it's on its face. If you've never watched Star Trek before, it's really funny. But the extra little bit for the diehard fans that's there, he put it a perfect way. He said it rewards you for being a diehard fan, but it doesn't punish you for not. So like
Yeah.
it's very accessible. But if you are as deeply enmeshed in this world as everybody here is, there's that extra little bit of icing that just it feels like a gift to you, you know, and it's lovely.
It's almost like the anti Star Trek Into Darkness, which is like, it feels like it punishes you for knowing what's happening, and then like if you don't know what's going on, you're like just lost.
Mhm.
Because I remember being pleasantly surprised compared to like jokey, nerdy things usually, and I'm like, oh, we're in on the jokes here. The jokes are not at my expense.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, the jokey, nerdy things, like with me growing up with like The Big Bang Theory, and I was like, I didn't want to be the punchline. But it's like, no, these are the jokes you would make with us.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I saw Salon Trek. I've had friends watch Lower Decks and enjoy it, and occasionally ask me some stuff, but like they completely like think it's funny without having to have like an encyclopedic knowledge of Star Trek like I do.
That's good. Yeah, I've always wondered, like somebody who's just really new to the franchise, what they think of like all of the references.
I've heard people say that they've had friends get curious about Star Trek from watching Lower Decks and seeing all of these references, and instead of being intimidated by it, they're curious. They're like, "Wow, this shared universe sounds like it's bonkers. I gotta learn about these salt vampires and these Packlids and all the these evil AIs, all this crazy stuff going on."
Well, there's at least one I can't even
Mirror
think where they're
universe.
like, that's something they made up for Lower Decks, right? And I was like, nope, not at all. Like, that is something from a serious episode of Star Trek that we all make fun of.
Yeah, Star Trek's insane enough. You don't need to make
Yeah.
up stuff. You
No.
have so much material in universe to pull from.
Well, that's what's interesting. When they last week or the week before, Discovery gave us a Hyperion reference. Like they referenced Lower Decks.
Yeah.
And that was just, I mean, I know it's happened once or twice before, but it's just every time that happens, it's like, oh, it's coming full circle. They're becoming the inside joke.
Yeah. What? Sorry, Brandy, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a friend. It's someone I used to work with. She is in her 70s. Knew very little about Trek, knew that the original series existed, couldn't stand William Shatner as Kirk, on which I agree. Still can't stand him as Kirk. But I said, you know what, this could be fun. You ought to just give it a go. She loves Lower Decks with a passion. My 70-year-old friend who has watched next to no Star Trek adores it, and she adores Prodigy. So
Aw.
That's
There
actually
you
really
go.
awesome because
Yeah,
Prodigy
I
is
love
kind of
that.
like an introduction for any age group to Star Trek. Like
That's
it's a
true.
great way to
Mhm.
get into. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
It also
For
has a lot
me,
of heart too.
aside from the comedy and everything, just it makes me laugh so much. And I just like, if you're having a bad day, put on an episode of Lower Decks. But I also love that it's set in that little time period between TNG and the films and Picard. Like, so we're kind of we're kind of getting, you know, a little bit of like what everything was like before, I guess, the Mars attacks and all that stuff happens, you know, and the Romulus Romulus is still there too. So yeah, it's in this like nice little, it's nestled in this like sweet wholesome period of the Star Trek world, and I kind of really like that too.
Wow.
Cool.
I love also the effect that it's having on the wider Star Trek universe. So you mentioned the Hyperion reference in the recent Discovery episode. I think like the tendency might be there to kind of shuffle it off and say like, oh, that's, that's that over there, but it's not. But
Right.
it really does fit well and adds some really interesting lore to the Star Trek universe. So for example, right now I'm reading Dayton Ward's new novel, Pliable Truths, which is set right at the basically before Deep Space Nine starts, and the Enterprise is at Terok Nor helping the Bajorans get back on their feet and stuff. And they mentioned the U.S.S. Oceanside is there as well with their crew. And it's a California class ship doing, some maintenance stuff. And I'm like, that's great. I love it.
Love that.
I don't think
That
I
is
ever
very
said
cool.
what I love about Lower Decks. It's too many things to quantify. But
Well, we knew you were going to be here a short period of time, so we're like,
Yeah.
let's see how much they can compress into like a quantum singularity of let's say conversation.
yeah. I have to. I feel like it just. I feel seen in certain ways with certain characters. I am a diehard Boimler girl because there are so many things that Boimler does that I'm like, if I was in Starfleet, I would be doing that. I would
Yeah.
absolutely do that. I would say that. I would think that. Like the episode, I can't remember the name of the episode off the top of my head because I'm not good with titles, you guys. But it was the episode where the ship was getting evaluated and they were in the hologram pods.
Oh yeah.
And Boimler doing that over and over again, doing that Borg situation over and over again
Excretus.
to
Yep.
get
Yeah.
yes, thank you, to get
We have Father here
100%.
to remember
That's
that
me.
one.
That's me. That is the thing. It's like, no, I know I
Yep.
can do this. I know I can do this. I learned from every go through. I know I can do this. That
You can almost hear in the computer's voice, like, you've done, you're good. Like, stop.
really.
It's
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to do this.
Yeah, that's
think-
me though. I would
I
become
feel like
obsessed.
Anyone who works in any kind of corporate place can relate to Lower Decks. Where you're just trying to get it done. Just trying to I have this information. Hopefully that's enough to get this job done.
Yeah, I love how it plays on that too, because you've got it relies on that joke of like, oh, it's a typical workplace. Rutherford wants to switch departments and his department head's going to be all mad about that. But they play it like, oh, hey, got to follow your dreams. That's awesome. It's like, oh yeah, Starfleet. It's wholesome. I forgot.
That was great to see early on. That was the
Yeah.
second or no, third episode, I believe. That was in
Yeah.
Temporal Edicts, I think. And we were still kind of learning, well, what is the show's portrayal of Starfleet? What was their spin on it going to be? And it was very refreshing, at a time where we've had so much, dark, cynical Starfleet, and Discovery and Picard had done a lot of that. And it was refreshing. It was a real breath of fresh air to see the wholesome side of Starfleet again.
I thought
It was really nice to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was thinking with that specific reference or that episode where it was that kind of surprise. No, we're fine with that, and they kept doing that over and over again. And I remember, I can't remember if it was Brandy or Jesse that I talked to at the time. I'm like, that can only go so many times. They've used that a couple times, and then after that, it's like we can't do that again. So they stopped. So whenever you think of something that's like, okay, that's enough now, they also think the same thing. So it's really great timing on whoever is doing all the writing and directing.
I also love the characters are all flawed in actual human ways and not overly dramatic ways. Of flawed in the ways actual people are flawed human beings.
Yep.
It was so relatable when I was in a corporate job, during the pandemic. It was such a great kind of thing to watch Lower Decks and kind of realize, oh, okay, maybe I can talk to my manager this way, or oh, buffer time. That's definitely a thing I need to incorporate into my estimates of.
If you're a graphic designer, you do that.
You
Buffer time has
definitely
been
need to give
with
some
me for
buffer
a very
time.
long time.
God, I use buffer time, a mix of buffer time and Scotty's lie to them about how long it's gonna take every day at work.
Multiply it
You'll
by
go
the time by
insane.
factor
If
4.
my manager Jeremy's listening, shh, don't worry about it.
I have a job that I know I can never use that boss as a reference, because after I left that job, whoever took over my duties figured out man, it took this guy all day to do this. He took 2 hours of work and stretched it into 8 hours and was doing that for 2 years. But no one knew. I was pretty good at my buffer time, so.
Sounds like you were a master.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like, I can, like, Gil Wolf, it was nice working for you, but I know I can never use you as a reference because you probably hate me now.
Or she just thinks you're slow and methodical. It could be, you know, we don't know what the new person.
Or slow and
Maybe they're
dumb. She
making
probably thinks, like,
mistakes.
man, that guy was so dumb. I'm glad we got rid of him. But
Well,
That sounds like
that's
the new guy
been-
just didn't get the memo.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
you can do it
Well,
fast, or you can do it right.
I see Greg in the chat asking about making cosmic koalas. This is mine in the lower decks glass. That's hard to see because
Very
it's
nice.
glass.
Nice.
I can put up the recipe
Tasty.
if we would like to.
yeah.
Wait, Eric,
Oh, and
Aaron
thank
shared
you for
yours
the super
earlier.
chat,
How's
Chuck.
your what did you put in that it's sparkly?
It's edible glitter. I got it
Okay.
from Amazon
Didn't it
for
come?
like $5.
Oh, okay. I feel like
Yeah,
it came with one of those
I don't
Star
know if
Trek launch
can see
packages too.
It almost looks like a
Oh, wow.
transporter beam. Yeah.
Mine doesn't look that fancy. Mine does not have edible glitter in it.
I just don't understand edible glitter. I hate glitter to begin with. Why would I eat it? Glitter is the herpes of the craft world, you guys.
Well, at least if you eat it, it won't go all over your place.
Yeah. I'm still
Just
remembering the
no.
time a friend of mine from Australia, she sent me Christmas gifts. There were a couple of earrings, and then it was just covered in glitter. I opened it in my kitchen. and
Oh
it
no.
exploded.
I am.
And I just sent
This
like
one
a
loves
text message
glitter.
like, "What the hell? Why?"
Can we shout out Lower Decks for actually showing us cetacean ops too? Like,
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that was a big
Yeah.
deal for me personally.
I never would have thought that would have
No.
happened. Like, imagine going back in time, Dan, like 10 years ago, and just being like, you're going to see cetacean ops on screen in canon multiple times.
Yeah, and like I understand why that's easier in lower decks, but
I
no,
think it was in the officer's manual that I first saw
Yeah.
cetaceans ops
Yeah.
when I was a kid,
When-
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing!
I-
Why don't they show it?"
At one point I was watching lower decks today, and I love that she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go swimming with the girls cetacean ops." And I was like, I love the idea of just hopping in there.
Yeah.
Like, let's go for a swim, guys.
So here's the recipe for anybody who's out there. And we have the non-alcoholic version, which I have made. It's a little bit sweeter, obviously, but it's still pretty good. It's a good summer drink. We were just talking about that before yeah, it's just like when it's a million degrees and wherever you're at, it's very refreshing.
nice.
And you don't worry about heat as much if you're just like you're like this is
Just
good.
drunk.
Yeah, I'm drunk.
I'm gonna make this tonight. That's gonna be my drink for tonight.
Mine is more
Right.
for looks at this point. I don't want to really drink it at 11 a.m. But it is very tasty.
That
Hey,
would be
it's
so
fun-
bad if you don't have anything to do.
Well, no, I'm doing my birthday stream on. Actually, Father, if you want to mention that really quickly about the Patreon.
Oh yeah, and the Tex-Trek Patreon, we are doing a watch party later today. We're gonna do a Crisis Point double feature. So if you want to sign up for the Tex-Trek Patreon, come in as little as $2 a month, and that'll get you into our watch parties. But yeah, those are always fun. It's a fun crowd that shows up. You get to watch with live commentary and join in, and it's normally a great group of Trekkies. So please consider joining the Tex-Trek Patreon.
I get
It's
to
a lot of
do
fun
my-
having those birthdays on there. It's cool.
Yeah.
So.
You've had yours, right? We watched.
Yeah, we
Generation.
watched Star Trek Generations. Yeah, it was very cool.
Today's mine, so I chose Lower Decks because it seemed to fit, and I love the Crisis Points just because they're
How
so
funny would
fun.
it have been if
Actually,
you decide to watch anything else?
Yeah. Well, if I was going to watch anything else, it probably would have been a TAS thing. I would have just
Yeah.
But
But speaking
actually,
of that, like Lower Decks did so much heavy lifting for TAS and like bringing TAS back into the conversation.
Mhm.
this is one of those like humble brags or whatever. But when I was at the season 2 premiere of Lower Decks, I was just dumbfounded when Mike came up to me and says like, "We use your book as reference for anything TAS." So he goes like, "When I'm looking for something to put in as TAS, I go, bring me the book." I'm just like, I was just so shocked at that point. Yes, that book. But
I love the
Yeah.
and the homages they make to the animated series, including like whenever they show like people in that era, they're in the style of the animated series, which is really
Mhm.
amazing. Also, I love all that kind of stuff.
I should have queued up some images. That would. Hey, Jesse.
Hey,
I am really
Hey.
dark. 1 second, let me. Oh no!
This isn't dark Star Trek. This is.
I know it's not
deep light
Section
Star
31
Trek.
yet.
You can have some of my light. I'm overly lit, so
I know. Can I get some lens flare, please? Can I get
I
some
could
lens
probably
flare?
do that. I could probably do that with this thing.
Yeah.
I can turn up
Oh,
my
there you
ring
go.
light.
Wait, can I? Can I? Oh wait.
Yeah,
hold on
my
again.
my ring light on here is like a thing that literally clips onto my laptop. So
Yeah, same. I have the same sort of thing.
is yours also from Target?
And no, actually, I got it on Amazon.
Also, I love Rachel that you're like the all hands on deck thing is like right where your face now.
Here, we'll
Yeah.
put it. We'll
Oh,
put
no,
it on
now
the
it's me.
Sohel's face.
I should have made it transparent. I can actually change it out if you want
At
to do
least-
that.
I guess that was covering the Jane Austen
Oh,
corner,
I don't like
which
that
is
stream. There,
fine,
just
but not on brand for right now.
So you're just
I
like
like
right in
this.
between. You're like right in the middle.
I'm doing it on purpose now.
Okay, people talk and I will fix it. I'll
I got it.
I'll Photoshop while
I'm
I'm not pushing you guys out, but I know that like at 11:30 you wanted to head off to get ready for your show, the Unready Room, but it's unready.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We're always unready, and that's the fun of it because preparation. Who cares?
Chaos!
Yeah, who needs
Yay.
that?
I watched the episode. That's all I need.
Yeah.
yeah, our show is so unready that like we didn't even come up with a name. That was somebody in the chat commenting
That's
that we
amazing.
were the unready room, and we're like, that works.
Yeah, that works.
That
We're
is
gonna
an
use
On
that.
name
brand.
something.
So yeah, actually, if I take off, it'll fix that little Chiron issue too, I guess.
Yeah, but then I'll be
I
going
just finished
too.
it. I got the transparent one. I just got to get it to Steven.
Also, Dan, I need to get back to you about. Sorry, I meant to respond to you about the book. I am down to do that, but it depends on if I can finish it in time.
Oh, cool! I'm like a quarter of the way in too, so
Oh, is this Dayton Moore's book?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started
Very
it.
cool.
You got some Garrick in my next generation.
Nice.
There is no reason for Garrick to not just be in everything, really.
That is
I just
true.
assume
I
he's
agree.
he's in the shadows and
he's
everything.
just spying
Right?
everywhere.
He's,
Like-
if you really believe hard enough, you can just imagine he's right off camera in
Yeah.
every single episode of every Star Trek show.
I mean, we see him step
Oh
out
my
of the
gosh, that's
shadows.
legit.
When Kira is like yelling at Damar, and then she's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," and then Garrick was like listening in the shadows, like, yeah, he's probably just doing that all the time.
Yeah.
This is the one time he stepped out.
I'm
And
just
he's got
imagining
the-
like Burnham just like looks over and Garrick's just like hiding in the corner of the Discovery Bridge.
That's my headcanon always, is Garrick is just always there.
he's even got the
He's gonna be
perfect
there.
entrance line from
I
Deep
love that
Space
we've
Nine
all
where he goes,
accepted that
"I
he's
believe that's where
immortal."
I step in."
Well said.
Garrick is the progenitor tech.
Oh,
Disco finale.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Right as I was taking a sip.
I hate when people do that. When
It's dangerous timing.
taking a sip and someone says something like that just
I'm
blows your
taking a
mind.
sip of a bright blue drink over like a book and the stuffed animal. Like, that's dangerous.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
awesome.
Mike McMahon posted some trivia that
Ooh.
Mike in the
Oh.
chat tagged me in. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I'm trying
'cause
to
it was
do
kinda
like
cool.
hosting and trying to do all of this stuff online is like I'm like no, I
Oh.
can't do it.
So we were talking about lower deck stuff. I kind of came and distracted everything.
I think we were talking about like what your favorite thing about Lower Decks is.
I know what mine is.
I even
Tell
put
us,
it in
tell
the
us.
rundown.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tendi talk with Jesse Genter.
Should I
But I
say
know
mine?
remember
I
when you did,
don't
like-
want to distract from where everyone else was. So yeah.
I remember when you did that cosplay. That was very cool. I remember the whole
Oh, it's a
thing.
great cosplay.
Oh,
Very
thank you.
cool.
I love that cosplay. That large part thanks to Spotted Giraffe who helped with that. With like the I did this costume for like the green makeup, but then I also did the pirate Tendi from
Vindicta.
Vindicta.
Nice.
Well, is she Vindicta? Is
No.
Tendi- Yeah.
No, Mariner's Vindicta, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Rise of Vindicta. The
Yeah. The Vindictiverse, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I was pirate Tendi. That was a fun one to do, though. It makes it hard to be all green because you show a lot of skin for that one.
Yeah. Does the green go all the way down?
Yeah. Right.
Did you,
And
now,
probably
did
some
you do, like,
places
a
you don't want it.
jumpsuit thing to
I did like a green screen bodysuit, but it looked
Yeah.
kind of weird. So like if I do it again, I would have to show skin. So we'll see how comfortable I eventually get with that.
That's fair. No, it's imagine because I know in like Wicked, they're like, here's a green shirt to put under this, so we don't have to like put makeup 8 times a week over a person's body.
I'm talking with Giraffe about helping me with a STLV costume.
Oh
So,
yeah.
fingers crossed it'll get it to work. I'm gonna go.
I got to
actually
meet
this year.
Giraffe in person, and I saw
cool.
the costume from Lower Decks with the Betazoid Intelligence.
Oh, yeah,
girl.
yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah, they did a great
That was
job.
a
They,
video.
they had
She's
all
been
three of
excited
them.
about that. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
been excited about that one for a while. Yeah.
Well,
That was
I am
very-
gonna unfortunately duck out now, but thank you so much. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody
Love
watch lots of
you.
Lower Decks.
Thank you for stopping by.
Lower decks.
Lower Decks.
Thanks again. I really appreciate the invite.
Yes, no, we're happy to have you.
Sarcastic, live long and prosper.
Everyone subscribe to
Testing.
Kertrat's Productions
Yes.
on
Aw.
YouTube.
Yes, please. It's
Oh, thank
amazing.
you.
And also Positively Trek's a wonderful podcast that
Oh,
also has
thank you.
amazing guests on from time to time. Guest hosts on from time to time.
Absolutely.
Like the center square. Bye.
Cool. Should I rant about Tendi, or I didn't want to interrupt what we were chatting about when I came in. So
No, we actually it's on the like I said, the rundown. I did block this off for you because I know you were also limited in time.
well,
Everybody
I
is
mean, I can
recommending-
rant for a whole thing, but I don't want to dominate the conversation.
No,
but I'm happy to
Tendi
rant
is
about
a great
Tendi.
conversation. I think
Yeah.
she's we've never seen an Orion that like had any kind of depth to them. So it's like that is really helpful.
Excuse me. What's her face from the pilot episode The Cage was a deeply in-depth character.
Susan Oliver painted green.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Pike was transfixed. You have to admit. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, Tendi is that character that every Star Trek show has. That is like the outsider character, like a different context than our lead characters and sort of a human perspective, but in a way, like exemplifies everything that Star Trek is. I mean, you have like Spock's that. For the original series, Data is that. For Next Generation, every single character in Deep Space Nine is that. In Deep Space Nine, but Tendi, just what I love most about her is, on a personal level, I've told this story before, but I relate to her on just a personal level as a queer person, as a trans person. Because she is someone, as we learned in season 4, who is assigned something at birth. She's assigned being the mistress of the winter constellations at birth, but she chooses to pick her own path, and she picks that path in Starfleet, and just this big collectivist organization, and she finds her own like little weird found family of weirdos who are like off to the side, seen as like not as important, and yet are the ones who end up saving the day and being just meaningful and just upholding all the values of Star Trek to its core. And then as a queer and trans person, that always deeply resonates with me. But what drew me to Tendi even before I knew that backstory, because Tendi was my favorite character right from like the pilot or the second episode, just right towards the beginning. And the reason was that she just has this endless, boundless kindness that always comes through. Like, even when she is angry or upset, like her goal is always to bring people together. I think of that one episode where she got turned into the weird monster. I forget what it was off the top of my head, but like the weird monster thing. And she's just, she got that way because she was angry because her friends weren't bonding in the exact way she wanted to. So yeah, she makes mistakes. She tries to be a little overbearing at times, but it's always done in the spirit of kindness and bringing people together. And no matter like any bad thing that happens, she's always just very hopeful about it. I think of like the season 1 finale, when Rutherford just loses all of his memories, and Tendi could take that as like, oh, I've lost this time with this person I really care about, but instead she just says we get to be friends all over again. And like that moment just lives in my brain as just something so uniquely, beautifully Tendi. And I don't think there is there's so many characters that I love throughout Star Trek, but I don't think there's any character more than Tendi that I think just epitomizes everything that Star Trek is and should be and is about creating in the future. I think if we had more people who saw the world as Tendi does, I think we would have that Star Trek future right now. And I think about the ending of season 4, which has me so excited, and why I'm like, I want to see more of Tendi, just not even into season 5, but beyond. Is that moment where, you know, she's forced to go back to Orion. She has to give up her Starfleet family. And she, before in earlier seasons, she kind of wasn't confident in herself. She didn't want to hide. She wanted to kind of escape this dictation of who she was. And she found that identity in Starfleet and her friends. And so at the end of season 4, when all of that's ripped away from her, she just has that wonderful moment where she says, I've got this. And it's a moment to say, like, she believes in herself. She knows who she is, something that she did not have before the start of the series. And that just came out of her Starfleet experience, her Star Trek experience, her found family, just all of those things that just helped her define who she is, so that even when she's on her own, she knows that about herself. And again, very queer, very Star Trek, very I think just hopeful. And so, yeah, Tendi, best character in Lower Decks, in my opinion, my personal favorite character, obviously. And for me, I think my favorite character in all of Star Trek, or at least very much vying for it with Dax in 7 of 9. So, anyways, I told you I could rant about Tendi for a very long time. I can go for another 20 minutes if you want me to.
That was a really
Yeah,
good
that's
rant.
my last rant.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
No,
Yeah.
my thing is, I was like, yeah, all of that is right. Tendi's awesome.
Yeah.
When Tendi
I
said,
lo-
like, I can, you know, relive all those moments again, it's like, I don't know if I would be that generous. I mean, like, I would probably feel put out, like, oh,
Yeah.
crap, I've lost this. But
Yeah.
she
And
just
it's
saw it as an opportunity, and it's like, trying to channel that sometimes it actually really helps.
There's a
It's
reason
also
in fiction why someone forgetting someone is usually played for like sadness and not for a comedic moment. And I was like, wow, that's really admired her in that moment.
Mhm.
I also love the way she comes around to kind of embrace her flaws, like in that episode where the guy was ascending, how she like had to admit that she really wants people to like her, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's a flaw
Yeah.
because like she'll go to these extreme lengths and like even like, you know, just kind of hide things and like, you know, not quite tell the truth or whatever. And then I love that she's like, we're both lying to each other. We're both lying to each other to get people to like us, and so we can be best friends now. You know, it's like stuff like that. It's super cool.
I related to that so hard because not to get like dark, but like when I was, you know, before I came out as trans, I disliked who I was. So I would always like have this anxiety that people didn't like me, or I wanted people to like me more. And so I would always just be overbearingly kind. Like I would be the one who would at parties like go around and be like, you need anything, you doing anything? Because it was this anxiety of like, I'm not good enough. I need to like somehow like do something to prove that I'm good enough. And so I like relate to Tendi on that level of just being anxious about like just wanting people to like me. It's because on some level she doesn't really know who she is at that point in the series and doesn't really like herself. And so she's doing these, like, she's enacting what she thinks other people want to be able to like prove to herself that she's a good person or a worthwhile person. So
It's so cool to see all of the characters' growths across the 4 seasons we've gotten so far, because you really like the Tendi in season 1. Now that I'm like binging it today and watching, it's like you really see a huge difference in all of them. But like Tendi especially, I think like in this last season was like incredible with her journey as the Winter Constellation, you know, the mistress of the Winter Constellation and all that stuff.
You do see them hint at some of that in season 1, though, like when she is
They
kicking
do.
ass on Romulus and Veritas.
That's right.
Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
kind of mind blowing the first time you see it in season 1, but then after you see all of her Orion background,
Yeah, I was
it makes a lot more sense
Watching
in
season
context.
1 today, I got to that episode and went, oh, now I like. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Of
right.
course, like why would she not be able to just, you know,
Yeah.
kick the shit out of the Tal Shiar, you know?
Well, and I did think it was what am I trying to say? Go ahead. Sorry, that thought is gone.
Well, I'll also say this too. This is very much just my headcanon. I have expressed it to Mike McMahon at some point. So I know it wasn't his intention, but this is just purely my headcanon. But like, I just view Tendi as actually like all the thematics of Tendi read as queer and trans to me. And that's all just there in the story. But I actually have a theory that she is literally trans within the context of the series. In that,
when I saw that drawing on the ship, I thought that.
Yeah. She has a dead name, the Mistress of the Winter Constellations, which is, again, just more thematic than literal. But also, the other big thing for me is that, we learn in Enterprise that Orion females, biological females, have pheromones that can influence men. And in season 4 of Lower Decks, we learn that Tendi does not have those pheromones. Like, she's mentioned it a few times. I think season 4, she's like, not of all of us have those.
We don't all have those, yeah.
Yeah, as the line. And so I just read that as she's a trans woman who does not have those pheromones. It's just not part of what she had in terms of her biology. And so I read her as literally trans within the context of Star Trek, which, in the Star Trek future, being trans wouldn't be that big a deal. No one would actually give a crap. So thematically, she's trans in terms of all the stuff I resonate with, but in terms of literally, like, no one. It's like, who cares if you're trans? No one gives a damn. So.
Well, and I was going to say
like
before,
those
you had
theories.
really good conversations with Mike when we were like streaming, when we had a couple of those interviews, and I remember that they were sort of touch points for him to go like, oh, maybe I should think about this. And then a season later, we see like the result, and it was just like that kind of blew me away. But he's so receptive to listening to people, which is.
We should talk about our friend Sue and her conversation with Mike McMahon. I think she'd be okay with that at some point. That should come up. About
oh, that's right.
What was it? What did Mike McMahon refer to her as? But she accused the show of being aggressively heteronormative, and but he took that complaint to heart and fleshed out Mariner. We've explored her sexuality a bit more in the later seasons, and then Mike at a convention actually referred to Sue, who's on the really great Women at Warp podcast, but he referred to her as like, oh, look, it's aggressively heteronormative, or thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I think we're making a better show now, and that's a way I think creators should approach those types of criticisms.
Yes.
And I encourage other creatives to look to Mike McMahon and Lower Decks and take that approach.
Early on, we knew. Oh, sorry.
Oh, please, no, Aaron, you go.
They know that you were that Mike was watching your show early on too, before like we'd actually interviewed him. So that was kind of cool. It's like, okay, he's looking at other viewpoints besides just the tech bros or Trek bros or whatever. It's like
Trek.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think that's the problem with a lot of, like, I won't name names, but I've encountered creators who double down when they're critiqued. I mean, they think like, oh, I've made this great work and it is beyond, like, well, because and understandably so, like, as creators, we invest. I've written stuff, like, we invest a lot of our emotion and time and energy into it, and to face criticism can feel like it's criticism of you. But generally, those criticisms are coming from a place of like wanting to make things better and not trying to hate on somebody, but trying to uplift something that we ultimately love. And I've seen creators just double down and be like, no, that wasn't my intention. That wasn't what it was. But it's like, art is about a conversation and what people receive from your work. And I think more creators need to understand that, like, as a conversation, that means you can continue the conversation instead of just saying like, this is the way it was, this is what it meant to be. And it's like, no, you move forward and grow. And that's what I really love about Lower Decks, about Mike McMahon as a creator, is he is someone who does like listen to people who say like, here, I love the show, but here's things that I see flaws in it, and then works to correct that and grow that in both within the show itself, but also within, in his story going forward. I mean, I'm sure he's bringing that same energy into other shows that he's working on, like Solar Opposites and Golden Axe and things like that. And so I think that that's what we need more of. I mean, the epitome of this, we don't need to go too down this road, but like someone like J.K. Rowling, who is just always like, yeah, Harry Potter was perfect and it doesn't need to change, and I was right the whole time. It's just like, that doesn't really, it just showcases, I think, a weakness of character and makes the writing worse when you could just make it better. And I think that Mike and all of Lower Decks, I just think has that ethos empathy and caring that I really love. So,
and it also, like, just looking at the social media of the people who work on the show, you can tell that they actually enjoy it because they do fan art when they're not actually doing their regular. No one does that for work if they don't like their work.
I don't think she would mind me telling this. Jean, who's assistant director on Star Trek Lower Decks and is a friend of mine, when she heard about the cancellation of Lower Decks, she literally told me, it's like, I just got really sad because it means I wouldn't be able to draw like Boimler and all these characters again, as part of my job. Like, and that just speaks to how much passion everyone has for the show. I mean, I've met so much of the crew of Lower Decks, like the people who actually work on the show day to day, and they are just like some of the most passionate, caring, weirdo people. Like, if you think we're weird, I've met them all. They're very weird in the best, most beautiful way. I adore them. So,
speaking of the animation, like, it's so good. I mean, even in season 1, just like the atmospherics and stuff like that. But like in that scene when in the scene where the lady's like, Jamaharan, you nasty boy, I can hear your thoughts or whatever, and like Boimler's like screaming, you can see his pupils like getting bigger and smaller and dilating, and there's just all kinds of like nuances that you wouldn't think that in such a simple style that would be there, but it's all there, and it's just really it adds to everything. And you always I always find myself seeing something new about the animation. I love animation, so I like to kind of look at it and see what the techniques are and stuff like that. And Lower Decks is top notch.
I noticed something new in Cradle of Vexilon, where when the clouds turn to whatever they do, like ice, and fall down and crash, they almost land on this group of artists who are drawing, and everybody runs away except for one who comes, takes her easel, moves off to the side, and start drawing it. I'm like, I never noticed that before. Yeah. Speaking of art, I just put into the share into the chat that somebody drew something for today's All Hands on Decks, and it is like the cutest, like amazing, like cute. I think it should. Yeah. Let's see if there we go.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
That's super cute.
Yeah.
So sweet.
I want that coffee table.
My favorite part is the Moopsie just eating a bone.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I really want that coffee table though. Oh my god.
It's a great.
Oh yeah, it's totally rad.
And Boimler looks like he looked like when he was in the Ferengi hotel eating, watching TV.
Yep.
Look
Oh,
on his
this is
face.
lovely.
So yeah, so it's like I need to get a print of this or something and hang it up. But yeah, that is amazing.
Great job. Great job.
I'd never.
It's great. Like Mike has been sharing some of this stuff too, which is nice.
Oh my
god!
I just noticed that Rutherford has a badgy like pillow.
It's
Oh
very
my
cute.
gosh.
So anyway, sorry.
No. It's amazing. I have my Lower Decks playing downstairs, so it's just running on there.
It was on my iPad, which just died.
Oh no!
Oh, I'm watching the death of Shax on my muted TV.
Oh, no.
Right off screen. So
My poor
I was
Shax.
on season 2. I'd gotten pretty far.
Speaking of
And I
which,
flipped
did
over it instead.
you see that the Shax comic, the Day of Blood Shax comic, got nominated for I think it was an Eisner Award.
right,
wow.
yeah, the Eisner for one. I think it might have. Yeah, for best one shot, I guess.
Yeah, one shot. It is. If you have not read that, I mean, the Day of Blood. I mean, sadly, Dan's not here. I thought it was in his background, but I have it downstairs. But the comics run that they've been doing recently with IDW is really, 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 really good. But they brought Shax into it, and so it's really weird seeing Shax in like a realistic art style. But then they do have a one shot that takes place during this big crossover event that they do, which is just Shax's best day. And oh my gosh, it is one of the best, just not only Star Trek comics I've read, but one of the best comics I've read. It is so good and well deserves that nomination. Like literally, it's just about Shax being like he's beating the crap out of Klingons and like yelling and just enjoying it the whole time, but also like arguing why fascism is wrong, like overtly, because the bad guys in this are like Klingons and this other group that are actually like really fascist people.
Right.
And so he's like debating with these Klingons why fascism is absolutely atrocious, while he's just having a ball, just doing so much violence and just destroying all these things. It is wonderfully beautiful. I adore it.
Yeah, IDW's been doing a really good job with the Star Trek comics lately.
Up the comics. I usually wait for them to like put out a bigger book of them.
Which you should that one. It's in. That's how I read it. They released the Day of Blood collected,
cool.
and that one shot is in there.
Nice.
So
Mike
I like
McMahon
the,
tweeted out
Which
a little.
sense,
McMahon tweeted out a mini scavenger hunt for people marathoning Lower Decks today.
Ooh.
Thanks to Sean Sullivan who tagged me in it. Do you guys want to see if you know these references? Do you
Ooh.
want
I
me to read
looked
them
at
to
them
you?
and I
Try it.
don't.
I probably
so
will not.
Yeah.
Season 1, what does a character see which is also referenced in Solar Opposites and Rick and Morty? So I don't know.
That I wouldn't know.
I don't know this one.
Would it be the koala? I don't know. I have no idea. Like, is the koala referenced in
okay.
those shows? I don't
Maybe
know.
it's the
I don't know.
koala.
for sure.
Fletcher does see the koala in season 1. He's like, why is he smiling? What does he know?
Yeah.
Is the
That's what I'm
koala
wondering.
across the series? I didn't realize that. That's cool.
I don't know if it is or not. I don't remember being
That would be
referenced in Solar
awesome if that's
Opposites
the
or
case.
Rick and Morty, but maybe.
Yeah.
If someone in the
Solar
audience
Opposites
who
worth
watches
checking
all
out.
of them
I have
knows.
not had a chance to see it yet, but I've heard it's good.
So you haven't seen Solar Opposites?
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Oh, Solar Opposites is great. I mean, no shade at Rick and Morty because I do enjoy Rick and Morty as well. But you can definitely tell Mike McMahon's sensibilities as a showrunner in Solar Opposites versus I knew he showran Rick and Morty as well. In that, basically, Solar Opposites is Rick and Morty, except for much less cynical and about a weird queer. What if Rick and Morty was less about like a weird, like sad, like very depressed man, and instead about a very queer found family.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, here's the season 2 one. Can you find the reference to the novel Splinter of the Mind's Eye in season 2?
Oh man.
Oh, yes.
That's the other Star
You don't remember-
franchise, right?
Yeah.
it's a
First
Star Wars
ever
book.
Star Wars book, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was going to be the
By
sequel.
Alan Dean Foster. Yeah, and it was if Star Wars failed, essentially, that would be the sequel that they could do because it wouldn't cost a lot of money and they could kind of recoup by using stuff they already had.
It's one of the books that the Disney won't pay Alan Dean Foster for now. If I don't know if he's still fighting the royalty battle there, but the SOBs at Disney pay the man.
Speaking of Alan Dean Foster, he wrote the novelizations of the animated series, Star Trek series as well. So there's some Star Trek crossover there.
That unfortunately was not in our book because we did not have enough space. And I know that we had people like, well, someone seems to have forgotten. I'm like, no, we mentioned it. We just can't, we wanted to do a comparison of like, what is the plot compared to the series? Because there's some really interesting things in the books. And then there's some that are like, where are you going? Because I think he only had like an outline.
Yeah,
so...
I'm upset because I this is just a random aside, but I own all of those. I have like the original printings of them, but I believe it was Barnes and Noble. They have those like classic edition like books that like are really nice looking, and they did one for Star Trek, and I wanted to buy it, but I didn't have the money on me on the day that I saw it in the store. And ever since then, I've gone into like their collections, and I've never seen it since, and I want it so badly. They did like a really nice, like very pretty cover of all of those bound together. So
for the love of
I
me,
didn't see anyone figure out
where
the
Splinter No, I know, but it's like I remember at the time whatever it was, I said, oh, that's like Splinter of the Mind's Eye. But now I don't remember what that was. But I remember telling Jesse that when we were watching it. But what it was, I don't know.
Yesterday and purposely didn't go in so I wouldn't spend money.
Okay, season 3. What story point is lifted from the 1995 cinematic masterpiece Waterworld? I love that he calls it a cinematic masterpiece.
What else would you call it?
Which season? Season 3?
Yeah, you mean you don't think Waterworld is a cinematic masterpiece? What the hell's wrong with you?
Maybe not. Season 3. Season 3. This is the one.
Season 3.
I think I have the answer to this one. I think someone posted about it in the
Let me
slides.
see.
Does someone grow gills? That's the only thing I can think of.
Trust the source of Sheesh, unless it was.
What are we looking for?
Okay,
Yes. We should do that. I just saw
Yes.
that. Everyone, for people who are listening and not watching, everyone at every Star Trek Lower Las Vegas panel should chant Lower Decks, film it, and make it go viral. Show the love and support. #save Lower Decks.
Legit.
I will do that. I will be at STLV, so we should.
That is my friend Greg, who I've known since high school, or his high school, my early
that's
college.
so cool.
Yeah.
So the Waterworld
we did a Star Trek fan film like forever ago, and I've got like most of it was stolen when I first moved to LA. It was there's a whole story there. Like Davey was really overly trusting, and he was used to people in Portland and Vancouver, and wanted to have somebody help us empty the U-Haul and take it upstairs. But he didn't keep an eye on them, and they helped themselves and took everything away. Not everything, mostly. But we lost all of our footage except for a very little bit, but it was called Star Fake. We had this thing where we were beamed to the bridge, and then we just end up on the I-205 bridge, like just dumb, goofy, like jokey things. So, but sorry,
I'm trying to see if I can find my old because I did a Star Trek fan film years ago, and it was terrible. It was like stick figure drawings.
I bet I can find.
But I saved it. I had it online somewhere, but I can never find it. But it was years ago. I don't think it exists anymore.
Someone in
speaking
the
of-
reply said that the Waterworld reference is a map tattoo. Is that what you remember?
Oh yes,
Like-
yes, I was right. It was Crisis Point. Yep.
Okay.
I've never seen Waterworld. I do need to watch that at some
Father, I
point.
think you muted
Oh,
me.
Father is muted.
That's for the best, but for like the back skin on the map, I forgot about that. It was kind of gross, but I guess Lower Decks is not afraid to boldly go into some gross territory at
The only
times.
thing I can remember about Waterworld is that they didn't like that the main character had like grown gills, and I said, wouldn't that be an advantage in the society I don't understand?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Last one, season 4. The reference to Asimov's short story, The Last Question, which I have not read. I've read a lot of Asimov, but I've not read that. So
No,
no
I
one,
haven't read that one
anyone?
either. No,
Bueller?
I haven't read
Bueller?
that
No. Okay, we don't. So-
Nerd.
What was it again?
Mike Man's a nerd.
I'm doing too many things at once. What was the question?
Oh, it was find the reference to Asimov's short story, The Last Question, in season 4.
Huh. What was the last question about? Does anybody remember?
Couldn't tell you.
That's not like
But
the 9
I
billion
agree
names
with
of
Jesse.
God,
Mike
is it?
McMahon's a nerd. So those are the little scavenger hunts. Now I'm gonna have to pay more attention as I go through the other seasons. Yeah.
Not only does he pack in so many Star Trek Easter eggs, he's just pulling in Easter eggs from other franchises all over the place.
I mean, I put there's a Lower Decks Easter egg in my movie I put in intentionally, which is very fun.
Nice.
Love that.
You should talk about your movie while you're here, Jesse.
Thank you.
Sorry, I wasn't even prepared for that. Yeah, actually, well, what I will do,
go.
I'll go really quickly. Yeah, I am making a movie. Well,
Promote.
I'm about to release a movie called Identities, starring not only the wonderful John Delancey from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yes, I got to work with John Delancey, which was wild. He is super wonderful. I can talk more about that. He is really, really great. But I'm also it's also full of many numerous like queer and trans folks. The story itself is very much the way I like to describe it is Matrix meets Severance meets Cube. If you've seen the old movie Cube.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it is coming out on June 25th, so actually a month from today, on Nebula, the streaming service. We are going to have some fun stuff leading up to the release of it, in that there's going to be some fun ARG. If you remember, like the Lost style of like games way back when the TV show Lost was on the air, and they had those like weird websites for evil companies or whatever. We're going to be doing something like that, and there'll be some fun clues for people to find to lead into some of the mysteries of the story. It's hard for me to talk about it because I don't want to give away too much, because part of the fun of the movie is kind of slowly discovering what's going on. So what I will say is the movie basically is two people wake up in a room, Maggie Mayfish and James Tyson, two wonderful, amazing actors. Maggie Mayfish, many people may know from her YouTube channel. They wake up in a room with no exits, no way out, and no memory of who they are. And they have to slowly piece together who they are and figure out who they are inside, while also trying to figure out how to escape this world that might be way more oppressive than they initially think. And yeah, so that's about all I can say about the story so far, but I am so excited for people to watch it for numerous reasons, in that it is a really personal story to me. Thank you, Joel. I adore you. You're the best.
Yeah, check out the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer just came out. I'll share that. Joel just shared that. But it is a very personal story to me. There is one sequence in the film that I imagined years ago. Like that was the sequence that I came up with my brain, is what sort of led to the entire rest of the film. And it was just an absolute joy filming it, because we got a bunch of extras and it was all mainly queer and trans folks that were in it. And I turned to Dr. Erin, who is my producer, who I like pitched the movie to, and she wanted to do it. And when we were filming, we literally just were jumping up for joy because we captured this thing that I had been describing and had been thinking about in my brain for so long. And it's a beautiful sequence that I'm so proud of. It's set to this wonderful music that was written by the artist, the singer-songwriter Katie Day. We'll be releasing a music video for that in a little while. And it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful sequence. It is the heart of the movie, and just it means everything to me to be able to have filmed that sequence. Again, I'm staying vague because you haven't been able to say it too much. And then the only other thing that I'll say about the movie, and I'll stop ranting about promoting my own crap on a Star Trek Lower Deck stream, is the fact that I'm hoping that this will be the pilot episode for a larger series. This movie tells its own complete story, but the plan is, and I'm trying to just get this out there as much as possible to start the conversation on it, is that there is an after credit sequence, so stay after the credits, that teaches a much larger world, and I'm hoping that I get to tell some of the story, because I think some of the stuff that I have planned for it is really, really cool and a lot of fun. The ARG game will hint at some of it. Nice. So if you do want that, please sign up to Nebula, the streaming service, and use the link Identities. There's like I think it's on my website. If you go to my channel, if you go to my YouTube channel, I'll go to one of the videos that talk about Identities, you'll find a link. But sign up there and just keep talking about Identities, especially after it comes out, because it'll be amazing. And Nebula is trying to start a film studio, so they definitely have the push and ability to do so, but they just need to see that there's enough interest. So anyways, that's enough about my crap and talking about my series that I want to make. Let's talk about a series that I adore and love and want to save. So,
I can really quickly show you I did find a screenshot of that movie from 1991 or whatever it was.
What was it? Cube?
The fan film that we did.
Gotcha.
I would say in
really
the
silly.
comments, Greg says he might have all the footage.
Really?
Yeah, he says he has the original VHS.
Well, okay, then we need to get that copied.
Yeah.
And
Hashtag save
Starfleet.
Jesse, I'm definitely going to subscribe to Nebula, but I also hope that as a patron, I request that we get a physical media copy way down the line sometime.
I would love that too. That is a Nebula question. I would love that. That is if Nebula wants to do it, I would be very much down for it. I mean, hell, if I had my way, what I would want to do is release a VHS version of it. That would be the best.
I want it on Betamax, Jesse. Can I get Betamax?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at baby Aaron.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
I was Lieutenant Sulu, or I was
This is Lower Deck, Aaron. This is like
Well, no, I'll show you that in a second. And that's Greg in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Very cool.
In the middle is our friend Davey, who is no longer with us, unfortunately.
What year was this?
93? 94?
Oh wow.
Greg can tell me, like, for sure. He probably, yeah.
I
So
was
before I
2
moved to
years
LA.
old.
Oh, great.
Put things
Depending
into
on what,
perspective.
Happy
depending
birthday
on
to
what
you.
part of '93 this was, I might not have been born yet.
Oh my. Well, I was in high school, so I was a little older.
Our budget went to going to Target to get shirts that were the right colors. And Davey used fireworks to make the bridge explode in the house. His mom was not happy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I think at one point, Danielle and I are like, are we going to go blind? Because it was just like right in front of us. And it was very realistic, our reaction of like, oh my God, we're going to die. But yeah. And then many years later, we did an improv show called Night Shift about a year before Lower Decks came out. And it's essentially Lower Decks.
Which was fun. I really adored Night Shift. I went to a showing of
Thank
it
you.
once, and it was a lot of fun.
And this is the first episode, and we are drinking Romulan whiskey, which I think is great because they ended up like shortly afterwards when Lower Decks showed that their first episode had Romulan whiskey too, and Andorian absinthe. That was the other one that I've not seen show up yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this was the end of that episode, and we had a something I still haven't seen in Star Trek really as a what am I trying to civilian? I don't. They're not really military, but somebody who's not in Starfleet, besides like a scientist.
Yeah, that's what we need more of. Is more civilian characters in
I mean,
Star
Gray
Trek.
kind of was that, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm trying to think if there's others.
But
I mean,
this is
I
sort
guess
of like just their everyday, like, what is it like to live on a ship with your significant other doing stuff, and you you
Yeah.
don't.
Deep Space Nine, I think, had the most of that because like Quark was
That's
technically a civilian, and then
Yeah.
you also had Keiko and a few
Keiko
others,
and yeah, that's
Jake
true.
and Nog and all
Yeah.
of that. At least Nog in the beginning of the series. So like, you had elements of it, but you don't really get a much look into human society and stuff. Like my pitch for a Star Trek show has always been like getting to see like the West Wing of Star Trek. I mean, that's the prototypical
Yeah.
one, but I have, again, me being creative, I have a back pocket pitch that I think would be fun. That would bring in some legacy stuff, but also do something new. So, but anyways, I need to stop pitching my own crap. Apologies.
No. I think Larry is on his way at some point. I don't know. He's supposed to be here at some. Like,
Speaking of
already.
which, I actually do need to head out because
Yes.
I'm actually working on some
I was
stuff
gonna say,
with other
gonna
folks.
let
But-
you know that it's like time for you to jump.
But before I go, since I ranted enough about stuff, I do want to rant quickly about Star Trek Lower Decks before we go. I just want to say this for everyone listening. I mean, everyone watching this and everyone listening already knows this, but just to say it, like the reason we want to save Lower Decks and the reason that is because Lower Decks is a special show. And the reason that it is a special show is that while I adore this entire era of Star Trek, I'm sad to see Star Trek Discovery go, and I also wish that hadn't been canceled for very similar reasons. But to me, Lower Decks is, I think, the show that just captures everything that I adore about Star Trek to this point. Like it is the most nerdy of nerdiest Star Trek shows that is just as neurodivergently hyperfixated on Star Trek as I have always been my entire life, and just love getting into the weeds and all the weird nerdy references and all those things. But even beyond just this absolute love and care for Star Trek, at its core, I think Star Trek Lower Decks is this show about having a found family, about being sort of feeling like you're, down in the lower decks, feeling like you're pushed out and not, the upper echelons of the fleet, and yet you still can be the epitome. In fact, even perhaps more so than the people who are the upper echelons of the fleet, the epitome of everything that Starfleet and Star Trek holds dear: infinite diversity and infinite combinations, taking delight in the differences of others. Like again, Tendi, like that was a Gene Roddenberry quote that I always love to use. Like we should be taking delight in the differences of others and differences of life forms. I don't think anyone epitomizes that more than Tendi. I don't think any Star Trek show epitomizes that more than Lower Decks. And it is just a show that I think understands what Star Trek's message is, which is we're not here to celebrate the Federation. We're not here to celebrate Starfleet. Those organizations are here to help uplift and celebrate us as people and bring us together to form something greater than the sum of our parts. And while I adore other Star Trek shows like Strange New Worlds, I think one of the things that often missed, especially in this era of like very nostalgia heavy focused stuff, is that sometimes we get a little lost in like celebrating the Star Trekkiness of stuff, of like, here's all these canon references, or like Starfleet's this great organization. But I think in truth, while Lower Decks is very much also doing that, like love of Star Trek, it understands that those things are not what Star Trek is about. What Star Trek is about uplifting these weirdo, beautiful people, and just celebrating our differences, and through our differences, finding our commonalities and love of each other and connection to each other. And I think Discovery probably comes the closest beyond Lower Decks, but I think Lower Decks, captures that energy so specifically. And I think we need more TV shows like that. And I think losing Lower Decks, especially when it's very clear that the writers of Lower Decks want to tell more story with Lower Decks. At least they deserve 7 seasons and 4 movies, only one of them good. And I think that we really we need to fight to be able to have the show be able to tell its full story, because we need shows like it nowadays, especially from everything I know behind the scenes of Lower Decks too. We're talking about in front of the camera, but the film industry right now, especially, and also the animation industry in specific, are really in a precarious place for so many people. And even within that, there's also a lot of like just abuses because of this system of capitalism and things like that, and people being overworked. And from everything that I've heard about Lower Decks as a series to work on from people that I've talked to, it is a series that exemplifies behind the scenes, everything that it shows in front of this camera, of a group of people that love working together, that are caring with each other, that uplift each other. And I think we need more spaces like that, not just on television, but behind the scenes. Because I'm someone who truly believes that the only way that we can make that better Star Trek future is to build it in small ways today, and hope that those small versions of what we hope to see in the world get carried forward. And I think Lower Decks as a show did that behind the scenes, and we need more shows like it. So for all of those reasons, we need to fight for Star Trek Lower Decks. But regardless, even if not, Lower Decks has been this pure, beautiful piece of art that has brought more of us together, and we should never forget that. And I adore you all. Thank you for having me here, and let's see more Lower Decks.
Yes.
Lower
I'll
decks.
give you all know.
Lower
Decks.
Lower Decks. Lower Decks.
All right, love y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for
Love
stopping
you.
by, Jesse.
Bye, Jesse.
Yeah, real quick, this is also a good time to mention that we have dedicated this whole event to not Big Judge. Sorry, I'm so tired.
To the memory of John Trimble.
Thank you. Who is part of John and Bijo Trimble, who helped save Star Trek originally. The reason that we're all here. They made a possible for a season 3 of TOS to happen, and they also were kind of big cheerleaders throughout. They're kind of like the prototype super fan. You know, they published the Bijo published the not compendium, the concordance in the 70s
And
that
fan
had like
activist.
yeah. So yeah, that was a little clunky, but but no, John he was such a sweet guy too. Like both of them are just lovely people. And you know, you can tell that they've been, when I saw them at STLV, they had been doing something all day and they just wanted to go back to their room. But when they saw me, I said hello, and we talked for like 10 minutes because they just there's that whole like fan camaraderie sort of thing going. So it was really great to see.
The same thing happened to us at the Star Trek Picard premiere. Bijo was
That's
there,
right.
and she like chatted with us for a little bit.
Yeah.
And even
Ju-
like,
just
We'll
last
just
year.
for a
Yeah.
picture.
yeah, yeah, we have a picture of it. It's very cute. With Aaron Walkie, the two Aarons. I'm sandwiched between two Aarons and Bijo. It's very cool.
We wanted Aaron McDonald in the things, so we could have like and her husband Aaron. We could have like 4 Aarons.
That's
All
amazing.
the errands.
Yeah. When we were at the improv, that's the funny thing is like I knew Erin McDonald from before she worked on Star Trek. She would also randomly science our episodes, which is like, please don't do that because we're doing improv. We're not scientists.
She was trying to be the scientific consultant on Star Trek Improv.
That was interesting. I'm not sure if it worked that way. Like,
She was like, I got notes for you.
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're just like, I was thinking on the fly. I don't know that it doesn't work either.
I made myself a scientist, which was a really stupid thing to do. I wish I had not done that. But yeah, no, it was great. So it was me, her, and her husband. So we were the triumvirate of errands. That was our joke. So anyway, I think we have a video, correct, Stephen?
Yeah, so Samuel and Stuart at Trekyards couldn't join us live, but they wanted to
Oh,
share
by the way, happy
some...
birthday, Captain Foley. It's his birthday today,
Yes.
too.
It is, yeah. He's doing a
That's why
big,
he's great.
a big party.
Big
For, it's a
stream,
bit. To be fair, it's a big birthday for him. You know.
Yeah.
50,
Big 5-0, fifth floor.
so-
Yeah. Deck 5.
But they did
halfway
submit
through
some
deck
stuff
5.
to us, so I can pull that up if y'all want to check in with Samuel
Awesome.
and Stuart at Trekyards.
Now, Mr. Spock.
Guys, we are Trekyards. He is Commander Cocking.
He's Captain Foley.
And today we're going to be talking about what Lower Decks means to us.
A lot. And thank you, everybody. That was our 5-minute slot.
Yeah, Lower Decks is fantastic. I mean, it's great to have a show that actually has, heart and soul behind it, and somebody that loves the franchise deeply, and it shows.
Yeah, it's the epitome of made by, for, and with Trek fans. While Prodigy is tremendous, Lower Decks is the only one that goes to every extreme to do what fans would appreciate, even if it's not what they thought they wanted, a la Packlids being made scary, baddie villains, or Lacana being brought, things that are exceptional that are actually wonderfully done, but you wouldn't necessarily think about them.
Yeah. And what better format to bring back like a whole slew of characters from other shows. And if the actors are kind of worried about how they've aged or whatever, it doesn't matter because it's animated. And we've got so many callbacks. We've had, Tom Paris back, Vicarno, like you said as well. Rom, Lita,
The DS9
Quark,
episode.
Kira. Yeah, exactly. Like there's just been so much. And it's added to the lore. It's cool to know that Kira worked with Shreks.
Yeah, it's really the only show that creates a buffet. A genuine buffet of Trek lore, of enjoyment. Animated series, a huge amount of love for the original animated series. That was great to see. Lots of DS9 and Voyager. I mean, we literally saw Voyager be, re-museumed and stuff. Genuinely memorable things and a very important part of the timeline, done with such care and attention. Maybe not every story is an A-star, but it's an odd formula. So it's allowed to have everything under the sun, right? But when it hits, oh my god, wage douche. I always say it, but that is top of the top,
Yeah, Wage Juice is fantastic. So, yeah, there's so much love that's put into it, and you can just tell. I mean, even we love ships, right? We're the ships guys. And when you see a ship represented on screen, it's pretty accurate. We do comparisons, and they do a really fantastic job. So,
at least in later seasons, and we were keen to do Trekyards episodes showing the difference, and they saw those, and they appreciated our thoughts. But it's got better. The details got better. The tension. I mean, the Breen ship was phenomenal. The Voyager was phenomenal. Really, more than you need to go for an animated show because they cared about those small details for us, for you, for me, for everyone watching. It's a hard show to sell because it's just like, oh, Trekkies for Trekkies, but there's such compelling characters, such interesting storylines and grander things. It's just successful.
Yeah, it's a real love letter to the fans, I think, and it's wrapped up in an animated bow, which a lot of people don't necessarily appreciate, which is kind of sad, unfortunately. And also the silliness sometimes. I can understand people not enjoying that, but I find it quite refreshing, and I rather enjoy it. So,
well, again, it's a buffet. It's the realms of ultra silly Boimler's leg split moment versus the hardcore, mother-daughter relationship bonding stuff. It runs the gambit. It's kind of unique in that way. It's not a kid show, it's not an adult show, it's not a Trek show. Specifically, it's all of those things, right?
Yeah.
It should have been the first 10 seasoner. It really should have been.
No, I agree 100%. And to bring back some obscure characters too, like Captain Bateson from Cause and Effect. Didn't have a speaking role, but still, like those little nods are really nice because we wondered what happened to those characters in the universe, and this is a great way of, kind of expanding on that. So,
and looking at Buen Amigo's Texas class and seeing like the 3M5 computer layouts, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you did there. Yep, yeah, little things.
So many great Easter eggs in every episode, and that's one of the fun things as a Trek fan to actually spot those and go, oh, I know that reference. And not every Trek fan necessarily would, but they're in there, and it's really cool.
And when you get a great A story and a good B story and Trek lore additionals and Easter eggs, I mean, what more could you want than all those things, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, 5 years is good, but I would like another 5 at least. So, hashtag save Star Trek Lower Decks.
Or hashtag start Lower Decks movies, or as the common trope is, the mid-decks. Star Trek mid-deck, and then you got Star Trek. Yes. Just more of these characters. More, please. Thank you.
So anyway, that's our impassioned plea to get more Lower Decks, and just watch it, enjoy it, and just be thankful for Mike McMahon and his team because they are fantastic people, and we really appreciate what they've done, and we want more.
Thanks, Mike.
So until next time, he's Commander Cockings.
He's Captain Foley.
And we are Trekyards.
We are. Bye,
See
guys.
you guys later.
Well, thank you so much, Samuel and Stuart, for sending that in.
Yes. Are we back? It's like,
Yep,
are we
you're
back?
So Hell's still muted. Oh, now he's back.
Oh, there we go. You're all in uniforms, or even the dress downs. I'm just wearing like this. I guess this hat. I'll put this hat as well.
There you go.
Yeah,
Little
it's,
hat.
You're cash.
I did a,
Yeah, it's not
like
that
a
Father and
Cerritos.
I aren't matching anymore.
yeah, I was embarrassed that me and Rachel showed up wearing the same thing, so I had to go do a quick wardrobe change. But
no,
I'm in
that's
uniform now.
This is my only Lower Deck shirt I have.
I jokingly said that this is like Jack Ransom's golf shirt. Like when he goes to play golf. I guess
mean,
it wouldn't be
that
Ransom though. It's like because it's blue.
Is that an official Lower Deck shirt? Because it looks
No.
like it.
This is just I was going through like Facebook and it was one of those like cheap like we're going out of business. Please, buy all of our stuff, which means they're going to turn into another store 20 minutes from now.
Yeah.
If only
but
they
I was
had
like,
thought to sell
I
it
did the
to
same
Star
thing. I'm
Trek
like, wait,
fans.
is this a Lower Deck shirt? Like, no. It was just in with like Hawaiian patterns and things like that. It's supposed to be like your dad doing a barbecue kind of a shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
So odd. Like
but it works really well because you can wear it and people don't stare at you like you're wearing a Star Trek uniform. But if you know, you know. So
that's what I like about like the Rito shirt. I was like, I am kind of doing Star Trek cosplay, but in a way that I can wear it and like people won't be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Legit.
One thing that they brought up on the Trekyards video that was interesting that was related to what Jesse was talking about is that they listened to the comments about the starships and incorporated like that improved too, like and changed. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really awesome how receptive they are to just listening to and not listening to the fans are like the complainy fans. I guess it's just like it's they seem to know what is actual feedback and what is just people not liking things annoying because they don't like them. Yeah.
and then speaking of that, like what a treat for ship fans to see what's under the plating, the hull plating when the Cerritos lost her plating and we saw her naked, so to speak. So it was really cool.
Something we'd never seen a starship do before. Strip down naked.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
There's a lot of firsts in that sense. We have, that Cetaceans Ops. We had the
Obina class, which was pretty cool. That kind of mix between an Excelsior and
yeah. They added some things to the lore, like with the new ship classes. We also had the Parliament class, the Vancouver, beautiful ship, beautiful. Yeah. I love that design.
I mean, the different state names ones in general.
Yep. 10 souls.
As father and I watched the Texas class be some like evil AI.
That was interesting because that season, all of Star Trek was talking about evil AI, like across the board of all of the
I wonder why
lines.
creatives were scared of evil AI.
Yeah, what are these Hollywood writers? What could they possibly have against AI?
Now we know.
This might be a good time to actually talk about what we want to see going forward, like season 5 and maybe beyond that. Any kind of like, I would love to see what happened to Boimler, the transporter clone who's now in section 31. Like that's a hanging thread. I went through and I'm like couldn't find a lot of hanging threads because they do kind of wrap things up, but that's one that I have no idea about.
Yeah, like the Buen Amigo stuff and like Rutherford's backstory. That was kind of a lot of the hanging threads. I think kind of got wrapped up at the conclusion of last season.
I think I retconned it too because I don't know if they were actually thinking that when they first did it.
Right, but there's still like a lot out there. Like you mentioned just now with that, but also the Trinars, we see them escape from Nick Locarno. So I wonder, will they ever show back up? I wonder if they might have a role to play in season 5 or beyond.
My big one is I just want to like, what's Tendi up to? I'm like, I want to see Tendi back with her friends and back in Starfleet and not having to like give up like what she's like earned.
I wonder how much will go back and forth between where she is and before she comes back.
I do hope it's like there's a little bit more time than we got that of like Boimler on the Titan, which I imagine there will be because you don't need to get Jonathan Frakes for those episodes.
True.
I like Joel saying we aren't getting a season 6, but can we have a second season 5?
What about second season 5?
That's funny.
Season 5, part 2.
They do everything like that nowadays. Like, sure, why not? We'll just film it at the same time.
I love Sean's notion of the long treks like being a thing. I think if they are going to do some type of like anthology thing, if they are going to do Star Trek movies, I think that, why not just combine both? Give us a made for streaming movie on Paramount Plus, and that would be a great delivery system for more Lower Decks adventures, I think.
100%. You could also do. I mean, we could bring back short treks and do it. I mean, you could do a few of those.
I just tweeted that I'd like to see short treks on the Alhambra. Remember that crew that Doesn't the
Oh,
like
yeah.
Tiana
yeah.
goes aboard it and they're like, they all look, you guys
Mariner
look the
Bug
same.
and like
Yeah. It's like-
I was because I just was rewatching season 1 where they go to the farm, and I was like, actually, I want to see what are they
Oh,
up
the
to? Are they still
farm.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah, or will Division 14 ever be mentioned in anything ever again? Because that kind of seemed like a big deal in just one episode of Lower Decks, but not even like Lower Decks has referenced it again. I wonder if someone will ever go back to Division 14.
Maybe Dog will come back in season 5. The dog will come back in season 5.
I miss the dog. He just when he turns into a cube and then
That was
They're
that
just
was
like-
funny.
it's like,
The dog was
well,
good.
wake me up when that I need to worry about something.
Sometimes
like-
we can forget these Star Trek characters are aliens. Sometimes
Yeah.
Star Trek will just write like everyone is like very human. So it's
Yeah.
I kind of like it when they can remind us like, oh yeah, Tendi is from another planet and is going to
no
be like
idea
a
what a
very
dog would be
alien,
like.
strange person to us humans. Sometimes has no idea what the hell a dog is.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love
She didn't know sand either.
Yeah, I don't know how you live in San
love
Francisco
at
for
the-
4 years, going to the academy, and you don't know sand or dogs. But
You could avoid the sand, but like she just
she was
knew what a
dedicated
dog
to her
looked like.
studies, obviously.
Yeah,
Do
Do you
That
have to
too.
go to the academy though? Like my question is like, do you have
No.
to always go? Like there has to be
No, 'cause
other
I could've
places. That's a
seen
lot of.
her being like, oh, you obviously have all these skills. Why would we put you through the academy when we could just like?
But there's
feels
also
It feels like there
we
should
know
be
there's
an
satellite.
type test that you can be like, yeah, you're
Right.
ready to just be an officer.
I
We
think she
also know
does
that
mention
there's,
the
like,
academy
satellite
at some point,
campuses.
though.
But I feel like there's satellite campuses. Like you don't necessarily need to go to the San Francisco campus. Maybe for ceremonies or like things like that. But maybe there's other campuses that you could go to.
She took
Starfleet-
online classes. She did
Starfleet
distance
remote
learning.
Starfleet Academy
I
online
do
class.
love at
I
the
like
end
that.
with her discovery. She's like, "Oh,
Why not?
dogs aren't supposed to do that." No.
I'm trying to think of like if we end and it's somehow a cliffhanger or things aren't wrapped up. I wonder if it's something that could be, and if we don't get another season or we don't get short treks or whatever, I wonder if they would continue it in the comic books and kind of wrap it up there because they seem to be enjoying people like the comics. They in the one that's coming out that is out now with Sons of Trek, Mariner's actually in that. Q has put everybody into an alternate universe where people are not where they're supposed to be. Gul Dukat, I think, is a captain, so that's very different. But they could totally continue it that way.
Ryan North has been writing the Lower Decks comics and wrote the Shax one-shot Jesse mentioned earlier that was nominated for an Eisner Award. So they seem to be pretty happy with his Lower Decks comics. The only thing I've read was like the Dracula thing, which was hilarious. But there's a Warp Your Own Adventure comic coming out, which I think is really neat. You get to kind of do a choose your own adventure in comic book form with Star Trek characters with Lower Decks. How cool is that?
love that so much. I love a choose your own adventure book. I think that they're so fun.
Yeah, that would be cool.
that would
So what
be-
do we
I
think
like
is going to
that
happen in
called Warp
season
Your Own
5?
Adventure.
And we do have one more season left, which is actually cool.
That-
We're talking about it like it's completely gone,
Yeah.
but at least we
I
do have
mean-
10 more episodes coming up.
I wonder if they'll become full lieutenants, like if they'll get promoted again. Like they were lieutenant junior grades this season, so I wonder if that'll be a thing where, because now promotions might be quicker, as once you get past that ensign rank. And I don't know, I just kind of want to see. I don't want to see them. I know that they didn't have the opportunity to film like an ending, but I just hope that the season ends in a sweet way and not on a cliffhanger like what you said.
I know,
like what you said too.
I have a fear that it's gonna end.
If it does, it's kind of a good thing too, because then that means they can continue the story in a streaming movie, or
Yeah.
perchance
Well, that will give
this
us...
this day is successful and like it gets the attention
if
of
it's not
another
a
studio or something like that. Yeah.
Cliffhanger, it might still be like you said, they get promoted at the very end. And so you're like, oh, I want to see what happens. Or they go off on different ships or something, which can be an
Something
ending,
like that, yeah.
but it also makes
Yeah.
you really want to see the next part. next
If it
adventure.
does end in a cliffhanger, we have even more ammunition to be like, we need more.
There was somebody who
That's
just tweeted that we need to move on with our lives, basically. I'm like, okay, great, thanks.
I would. I want to see a lot more of Talin. I know we saw her last season
Oh,
too, but I
yes.
just want more Talin always.
Yeah, I was hoping for more Talin, and I wanted Gabriel Ruiz to just be like a show regular and be in every episode. I want to have as much Talin as I get Tendi and Rutherford and Mariner and Boimler. So maybe even more Talin in season 5. I love what we got in season 4. I'm just greedy and want more.
I think you will get more Talin because Tendi will be missing for a bit of it. So yeah, I think we'll
That's
see
true.
a lot more.
Yeah, we don't know how long Tendi will be gone. I bet they get back to Orion pretty quick though in season 5.
Yeah, they don't. One thing. Oh, sorry, Rachel.
Oh no, I know
Go
at
ahead.
one point I think I was joking with Aaron that the famous Rachel Bloom that they should get her on Lower Decks.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can
No, that
pretend
would
that's
actually be great.
And I can pretend that's my memory alpha page.
That's a good reason.
Larry is going to still be joining us. They got stuck in traffic,
Oh, cool.
so he should be in about 5 minutes.
I feel that. I know I'm not from like I don't. I was like I'm sure traffic is worse there, but traffic is bad in Austin, and I've gotten stuck in traffic for live streams.
I think traffic is bad in any major city. It's different
Yeah.
types. Like Seattle, I would
When
never
are we-
want to. I would rather drive in LA any day than Seattle. It's just because it's
Seattle, when I lived there, it seemed like there was like hardly any traffic, but I could be misremembering it. Or well, based on
think-
Miami traffic, it probably felt light to me. Is what it was.
I think
Compared
after I
to-
moved, they worked out the issue of Microsoft and Boeing, who were both there at the time. Always
Gotcha.
so they had to stagger their shifts because it was just constant traffic.
That makes
It's
sense.
like kind of like it's not as bad as San Francisco, but it is sort of like a small city on the head of a pin in a way. So
I think
you
that's
had a lot
kind of
of
Austin's. There's not actually that much land for Austin for the amount of people.
Yeah, y'all don't need to
Season-
move here. Like it's not that cool. Austin kind of sucks. It's like super hot. We're infested with bats and we have nothing to eat but tacos. Please, like no one else move here.
oh
That
no,
kinda
just
sounds
tacos.
like heaven to some, that kind of
Yeah,
sounds
it's
like
like
heaven
that-
to some people. It's like wow. But Jill in the audience was asking when is Lower Decks season 5 supposed to drop, and I think it's next year, right?
We don't know.
don't
I
know.
think
Not
it'll be
next
this
year.
year. They haven't. No. They did say it would be this year. They did say 2024. They just haven't
Yeah.
given
Oh,
a date. I think it'll probably be around the same time as last year. I think it will be like September, maybe late September. It's normally August, but last year it was September. They were a little later than normal recording dialogue because of the strikes, but.
Yeah.
Tawny Newsome said months ago that like all of her lines were recorded, so it sounds like it's on track to come out in September, maybe October. Maybe they'll push it back to October, but I
It'd be
think
cool if it came
September,
out on Star
October.
Trek Day or Star
Yeah,
Trek.
I mean it might drop in August. I mean like the first 3 seasons all came out in August, so
Yeah.
No, I see people saying like Americans need to stop, like learning to stop driving everywhere. There's no good public transportation in the city I live in.
I live in LA and I actually do walk places. There's something that we've noticed is that there's like micro neighborhoods. Like it's like you can walk the area that you're in. You can't walk to Santa Monica or something like that, but they tend to
There are
be
parts of Austin like that. I don't live in one. I'd
Yeah.
get hit by a car.
well also when it's like, 103 degrees outside, I don't want to walk to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Look, I'm in the perfectly spaced to be in this corner. This nice open area.
Y'all, I hate to miss Larry. I kind of want to see him because it's been a while, and
Oh.
I love Larry Nemechek, but I do have to get going. So, don't miss me. I'll just fall off.
Well, before you leave, like what is your favorite Star Trek Lower Decks moment? If you
I'll
have
probably change this after I watch the whole series after today. I'll probably like have a better idea, but I guess just probably probably just anything involving Boimler freaking out. Like I think that's just like it always delights me to see Boimler, bungle something up or whatever. But in terms of like I think when I think of Lower Decks and like just distill that, I think when they're like just together sitting at like a bar or anytime they're just together, the 4 of them or 5 now, and they're just having like a little moment, those are always my favorite moments. So I'll pick just any one of those moments.
like the moments with
be
the
with that.
Vendorians, like
Yeah,
that when they
exactly.
were stuck in the goo.
that's
It's like
actually-
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's actually a
That
really
one
good
really-
one to
yeah.
Let
It
and
hits
now
different
it's
now,
so
too.
it's pointed. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so it hits different exactly. So, but it was fun to be on the stream. I'm gonna go
Yes,
back.
thank you.
I'm gonna go back to watching Lower Decks on my phone. I'm doing it wherever I'm going. So like I'm going to run some errands for my mom real quick that she needs like medication and stuff. But I'm
Will
gonna
we
be
see
watching
you
Lower
at
Decks.
Patreon?
I'll be a little
Okay.
late, but you will see me. Yes.
Okay.
All right,
See you
folks.
soon.
All right.
See ya.
Bye. And then there were three.
Yes, but Larry should be here soon, so then there'll be 4. Assuming that he actually can get in. So let's see. Like some of the people left. I think we went through our sheet pretty quickly. I'm thinking, do we want to do some of those prompts that we talked about?
Yeah.
Like chat with the audience and like get people out their opinions and start popping them up on screen.
You just want to work through that list?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up that list. There we go. Nope, that's not it. I think the first one is who would you want to be in the holodeck with?
If you could go to the holodeck with anyone on Lower Decks, who would it be with?
Ooh.
My window closed out. Sorry about that.
Now I'm trying to think of a good. I feel like it depended on like what I was doing in the holodeck.
I think I'd want to hang out with Mariner. I think me and her would get along. I think we have similar values, similar kind of lack of respect for authority, and certain systems or organizations we don't approve of. But I think we're both pretty solid, reliable people to on a more personal, like one-on-one level. We'd make better friends than we are employees, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. But I think she'd also, want to like have some fun holodeck adventures. I think she'd want to let's go steal the Reliant and escape from Cardassian prison, or let's go hang out at like a Orion pirate bar, or just fun stuff like that. So I would go to the holodeck with Mariner.
I think similar.
Salon Trek is sexy time with Boimler and Merp.
I think Tendi would be really fun to hang out with in general, just like on a holodeck. I feel like I have a somewhat similar, like in a good way, similar personality to Tendi, where it was like, let's just be enthusiastic and have fun.
Y'all would be good people for me and Mariner to bring with us to keep us in line, or keep us a little balanced,
Trying to think if I had to do something with like the main crew, who I would do.
Yeah.
Sean O'Sullivan agrees with me. He thinks Mariner would be the most fun. Wayner says Boimler, just so I can hear the scream. Jack Quaid talks about how he was staying in a hotel filming a movie, and he was recording his lines as Lower Deck. Or no, I think he might have been practicing. He might have been like practicing his line, but whatever he was doing, he kept like doing Boimler screams in his hotel room. People came and checked on him. They're like, "What are you doing, Jack Quaid? what are you doing screaming in your hotel room?"
I think a guess was like someone's getting murdered.
Yeah, they're probably thinking like, "What the hell are these Hollywood actors? We got like Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son, screaming in this hotel. What kind of weird stuff's going on in there? I don't want to know." It's just this guy pretending to be a Starfleet character from a cartoon.
I think it would also depend on like what kind of holodeck I was doing, adventure. Like if I was doing Sherlock Holmes, or let's be honest, if I lived in Star Trek, I would be doing Jane Austen holodeck adventures. I was like, who likes Jane Austen too? Would you like to come with and have fun?
Probably the captain.
Yeah. I have no
I don't know, for some reason it
this.
strikes me as maybe.
I feel like Tendi might or at least be enthusiastic
Yeah.
when I was enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, I think she would reflect whoever's energy.
Yeah, she'd be like, "You're into it, so I'm gonna get into it."
Trying to think of who else. Yeah,
Brian says he'd go with
after
T'Lyn.
What Shax
T'Lyn. That's interesting.
What Shax and Tiana get up to in the holodeck, I want them away from me.
Yeah, I would. I don't think I'd want to take either. Well, Shax might want to do like, "Hey, Shax, we can go in the holodeck and actually use the program as intended."
Yeah.
He'd probably be like, "Oh, how refreshing! Yeah, I'll be right behind you."
Beat up bad guys. It would be cool to do simulations too. Just like we did. What's the one with? Was it Boimler who like just killed the entire class of the training simulation? What was that?
Oh, with the board?
Oh no, that was Rutherford. Yeah, it was when Rutherford
Oh,
was trying to be when he was doing the simulations of possibly considering going into the command division.
That was
They accidentally killed the children.
Wow, that's a record. It's like the 2 kindergarten classes and something else.
one of the Holodeck characters being like, "Why was that an option?"
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
that
another another prompt, by the way, was about the Cerritos departments.
Yeah. If you what division would you serve in if you could choose anything?
Ooh, it's funny. This is the only ship I would maybe be like security, because I feel like
You could handle the threats.
I don't know the threats, but Shax. I genuinely think Shax is the best leader on the ship.
Yeah, I guess he's the only one well, I don't know. We see a lot of Billups. We see a lot of
We
Billups
do.
in engineering.
Phillips is great too, actually. I take that back.
Yeah, they'd both be good bosses. I'd work for Billups or Shax, I
Yeah.
think.
They genuinely seem like nurturing bosses, which is for one of the first times in my life I have that right now, and I'm like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like.
I think I would go into the command division because I'd want to be mentored by Jack Ransom because he'd probably put me on some type of workout routine and I'd get buff. He'd be like, "We gotta get you swole, Mr. Fathery."
I would get so annoyed with his workout routine.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The beauty of this ship is that
Yeah.
if I couldn't handle it, I could just be like,
Yeah.
"Sir, I think I want to transfer to the sick bay and work with Dr. Tiana." He'd just be like, "Go, you
I think
do you."
My main problem is that I'd be like, sir, I need to focus on cardio or anything besides weight building.
Jill is asking, do they have a stellar cartography department on that ship? They do on the Vancouver. We saw they had a stellar cartography room that Boimler's girlfriend worked in.
I should
but
see if that
not on the Cerritos.
chart that I have, if it says it on there
then
somewhere.
I wonder if it's not as big. Like maybe they do have the department, but because they're mostly going to places they've already been. Like the point of the ship is they're making second contact. They're probably not running into very many new stars.
Yeah. That would be true. Yeah, with the second contact and everything. I think I'd probably get along with Dr. Tiana just because I feel like we'd have some similar reaction to things occasionally. I get a little cynical with my and sarcastic with my graphic design clients. But I
feel like
don't
I
know,
would
it's
admire Dr. Tiana and also be scared of her.
Yes.
Also be like.
Well, I'd love to work with Acacian.
With her because I want her on my side.
Yes.
If something goes down.
I feel like there might be a little bit of a Pulaski vibe there. Like maybe she,
Yeah. Pulaski had some grumpy cat energy, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe it wouldn't be interesting if either. I guess it would be Pulaski could be her Starfleet mentor or something like that. I don't know, or the other way around. I'm not sure how old each of them are at that time to each other.
Matthew Averett says he wants to work on the Cerritos or in the Cerritos citation ops with a breather device, so that'd be neat.
That'd be fun. Just sit around as they ogle Rutherford.
Oh yeah.
I want to know what they're doing.
What was the other? Kumalu?
Kumo? Yeah.
I can tell them apart. Matt has the boxier head. You know, one part he calls him a blockhead. It's like his head actually is a little bit more square than the other one, so you can tell them apart.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. They also they do navigation. Is that what that is?
I think.
I can't remember what they.
According to the Next Generation Technical Manual, yeah, they assist with the ship's navigation.
I think the idea is that they understand 3D navigation more than humans because of living in water.
Right. That makes sense.
I read that somewhere, and I could not tell you if that's canon or not. But in my brain, I went, "I'm just going to accept that." Because
I feel like somebody mentioned
there.
that, on a Ready Room or something like that.
Probably.
Greg is saying now that he'd love to see Pulaski get a proper send-off in Lower Decks if Diane Muldaur would do it. Unfortunately, I think that would be hard to get her to do. She's been very distant from the franchise for some time. But I would
do
love
it without her speaking. There could be some.
Yeah, anytime I've seen Diana Muldaur talk about her time on TNG, I don't get the.
Yeah.
It seems unlikely.
She did not seem very happy.
Look, and I don't know that that's all her fault. I think it was incredibly awkward because I think the entire cast was felt like weird about like Gates being fired.
Yeah.
But also,
trying
I
to-
once read an interview where she said what she was doing on TNG wasn't real acting.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Well.
It's like in a documentary, that one documentary that Will Shatner made about the like.
Oh, the captains.
Yeah, no,
The captains or the Chaos on the
Chaos on
Bridge?
the Bridge.
The TNG
Oh, Chaos on the
one.
Bridge. Yeah.
But she's like, it wasn't real acting like we were doing on the original series, and I was like, okay.
Okay.
Well,
like
there
if
was
she was
a lot-
comparing it to. Oh, sorry. So you're comparing it to LA Law. Okay, maybe, but
Yeah.
you can't compare TNG and TOS.
There was a time when you would go to Star Trek conventions, like in the '90s, and there would be like a lot of people who worked on the original series, you know, older actors and other folks who did not have that much respect for the newer stuff. They were like, yeah, but it's not, you know, they don't have the same quality of writing that we had, or you know, they just thought like the TOS was such like
totally not
a perfect thing, and
today.
it was very very similar to what happens today, but folks forget. I mean, like I remember like going to conventions and seeing the guy who played Ston in Amok Time, and he's also a Romulan in Balance of Terror, like talking about like, yeah, like these new shows, they don't have as good of writers as we had in the '60s. It's not nowhere near as good as like the real Star Trek back in the day. Like
nothing.
that was an attitude that a minority of people had at the time.
Yeah,
How
the
history
characters-
repeats itself.
Well, what? Okay, if you were gonna do another crossover, like, would you? Like, how would you? What would you want to see Mariner and Boimler again? Which obviously they'd be the easiest ones, but it'd be interesting to see Rutherford and Tendi in live action.
I want them in live action.
They feel like they could
Paint Noel Wells green. That would be the harder one to do,
Okay,
but
I'll give a thing that this would be easier to do, but crossover with Prodigy.
That could be
But I
interesting.
also think that would be really fun. And can you imagine Boimler meeting like Janeway?
Oh, that would be great.
Like-
Especially because everybody on that show like freaked out that they were doing the Voyager. They were able to bring it back home and stuff. So to them, that would be like meeting somebody. I'm trying to think like Sully, who landed the plane in the river. Oh, hey, Larry.
That was fast. Sorry.
Dr. Trek.
Hey, yeah,
the one and only.
Because it's been kind of a crazy morning. Hey, everybody, have we saved the show yet?
We're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like we have. Okay.
Yeah.
Knock off
Great.
now. No.
Yeah. That's not the Starfleet way. Get it done. Wait, that's a different show.
We trended for a brief moment.
Say what?
So that's we trended on Twitter for a brief moment, and we also made the Paramount system crash. Like people couldn't get on to Paramount Plus for a moment.
Oh, good. That'll teach them.
Yeah.
No, then
Either that or it's just regular Paramount Plus. Who knows?
See, this is why we're dumping that show. They're just troublemakers. They crash our system.
If only, Aaron, you make jokes about Paramount.
I know.
Oh,
That's what I'm like.
who's- look who's here.
Hello.
Is it okay if we cross streams a little bit?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Cadet Alice, everybody. Yay.
Hi.
Hi, Alex.
Speaking here, let's get you more in the frame. There we go. Speaking of success stories at saving shows, good luck charm. Okay.
Aw.
Since we do our Prodigy review show,
Oh yeah.
I'm just
We were
hoping that
talking
Netflix
about,
doesn't like dump them all at once, and so then it's like a nightmare for everybody.
Yeah, we think that's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What did we talk about? How we were going to cover that? If it was like 2 episodes a shot, and then just get through them that way.
Yeah, it'll depend on how close we are to Lower Decks releasing, but we'll have to figure it out when Netflix figures it out. But
Yeah.
I've given up on hoping of it.
It goes super fast, so I can get through every single episode in seconds.
No. See, that's what they want. People want to slow it down so they can like savor and talk.
Gotta
about
savor it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We come from a time where we used to only get one at a time, once a week.
Yeah. What you have other things to do in your life? You can't. You have to.
There are enough shows actually to keep everybody busy now. It's way more than when we were growing up. So it's like you could do that very easily.
It's your one show after school. You just got home. You just watched that. Then it was dinner.
And then you hope
That's
nothing
pretty
big
much
happened
what I
on the
do.
news that would interrupt your show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they put
Oh.
TNG on, like they moved it, and it was like always against basketball. So every time there was some sort of, like, it would just be suddenly your show would just vanish, or it would just start in the middle of it, and you're just like, okay, great, bum bum bum, and then we're back and like,
Oh.
what just happened? You're like, I don't know.
So when it was so stupid, but when Oklahoma City station picked up Next Generation, they ran it. They used to do in the 60s, they would not show the original series after the first year. They would show it. They would show some Western. Are you leaving? Come here. Come here. Oh, you know, she's not the Lower Decks expert, but she went to get the Moopsie.
Nice.
Somebody 3D printed that at Starbase Indy to get us back. Oh, see it, Aaron's got it.
Unfortunately, I don't have a Moopsie.
Listen.
Actually-
Listen. It has the sound.
Got a little box in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I paid way too much money for this.
I don't have
Well-
a Moopsie. I have the Jordy
The fan made one as well.
Oh, okay.
You have an official one.
Don't worry. I'm sure in 47 years there'll be a license. Oh, there's one coming though, right?
Yeah.
No, there is. Yeah, I pre-ordered it and I ordered something else at the same time, and they're going to send both of them, so I don't get the other thing until whenever that happens. So
Yeah.
There's going to be a
20 years from now.
a Moopsie before Murph, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I have the cardboard cutout of Murph that everyone asked me about.
Oh, we got, thanks to someone's going to make, it's either Anne Marie or Marina Kay. We've got our New York Comic Con Murph here.
Aw.
Do you remember what happened when I showed this to you? And I said, but he's going to stay here with me. She cried. She's like, no, I want
Aw.
to take it home. And I'm like, no, he needs to stay here.
Hey, that works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got I've got the toy that came with the
Yeah.
dog one.
But I was shocked that I thought, oh, it's an
do have the
early,
figure.
it's
I
an.
do
Oh,
have
did
the
we
figure.
lose?
That's cool.
Did we lose Steven?
Yeah.
He's coming back.
Oh, okay.
He said, "Be right back." So
Yeah.
Bigger than ever.
Mhm.
yeah,
But
we
I
were talking about
apparently
cutouts.
these are
Like,
totally
people
just
asked about
promos.
this too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, that's it.
I don't remember the Enterprise being in Prodigy
No. It's I'm talking about cutouts just in general.
Yeah.
or in Lower Decks unless it was a holodeck. Anyway, so how's it gone? If we haven't saved
Very
the
well.
show yet, how's it happen? What's happening?
Oh, we've been celebrating the show, and that's always fun.
Yes, good. We've had a lot. We had Brandy and Dan on, and then Jesse popped in, and they popped out, and she was here for about 40 minutes or something. So we talked a lot about Tendi and how the cast and crew are really receptive to fan feedback, but not in like a, I don't like this sort of way. It's just like they listen to actual real criticism and don't balk at it. So
Well, my thing turned in. I mean, I've always loved the show, and it was to me, it was like wobbly for about 4 minutes, and then it's been solid.
yeah, going back and watching the first one, I'm like, yeah, there's a little.
Yeah. I didn't. The first time I watched it, I didn't get it that she was drunk. I'm like, oh, that's just gonna be her falling over the place.
And they showed us that clip. That they showed us that clip out of context. So that was like the
true.
Star Trek Day thing in 2020. And Mike McMahon even tried to warn us. He was like, it's not always going to be this crazy, but here's a clip from it.
Yeah.
He was upset
And the
because he
first-
didn't get to pick the clips. It sounds like.
So they're gonna like draw blood with batless every other day or something. It was like that's
yeah,
gonna
that was like,
happen all the
ow.
time. Did I lose you? Okay. Cadet
I'm sorry.
Alice beamed out, and you're about to beam
All
out.
right.
I just want to say real fast, thing it's amazing on top of it's not just a comedy, but they've let the characters have pathos and arcs without being oppressive, which was which sucked you in you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And then this last year, they're doing the 24th, 25th century world build between the Orions and then the Ferengi too. Even it's like this is incredible. I mean, they've added 3/4 of everything known about Orion and Orions to the canon.
Yeah.
We have
Wait.
like what 10 times more about Vendorians
Yeah.
now than we did before.
Yeah,
And everything Lower Decks has given us, it's done within 20 hours of television. It's only been 4 half-hour episodes, or four seasons of 10 half-hour episodes, right? So what does that add up to? Like
And
40,
not
20,
even,
yeah,
not
20
even
hours. So it's like less than season 1 of any Berman era Trek show.
Yeah.
When I first started watching it, I could never have imagined how emotionally invested I would get in the characters. Like the first fan video I made was for Mariner, because I was like, I'm so emotionally invested in this character that I have like an idea. And like you would think it would have been a live action show, but no, it was Lower Decks was the first one.
Well, I'll take what I said. The first thing hit me was I knew the humor would work, although I was a little worried at first because anybody that read Mike's missing season 8 TNG book Warped should know what his tone of his sense of humor was, and then the fact that it worked. But the first thing that hit me was the Easter egg attention to anal visual detail. I was like, oh my god, these guys are incredible, and gals. Like just the ships and the props and then the layer and layer wherever that's coming, whether it's all from Mike or it's the writers or the art team is coming in, but whatever it is. And then, so it's like every year it's just grown. And then the arcs and characters, and they're not just the ha-has. You're caring about the characters and watching them develop. And then Talin comes out of nowhere. Like it's the quintet you didn't know you needed. Quintet. Yeah.
I love Talin so much.
Yeah.
So good.
What I liked about you're talking about how everything visually is perfect. Like there's a thing. Okay, season 2, episode 2 is just Easter egg palooza. It's the what is it? Kayshawn when he was a puppet. I don't think that's what the episode.
Yeah. It's the Zabalian Trader Guild guy.
Yeah.
Kayshawn something, and I literally. Well, I was just watching the episode because that's the point of today.
Yeah. So I had that sheet that was like 55
box skeleton.
Yeah.
I was like, that's where we're gonna go. Okay. So
but there's one thing in there that Stephen and I have never identified, and Mike won't tell us what it is.
He won't tell us what it is.
It has to be something, because that's the thing. It's like they don't just draw random things. It either is clearly Cerritos or that universe, or it's something that you've seen before. And it's not drawn poorly where you're like, I don't understand what that is, Do
you know like the frame number? Do we know the minutes, the time code index?
I could find it. I can send it.
It's been a long time since I watched that one.
If we have a few minutes over, I can pull it up and maybe the audience will know.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
we'll do that.
Well, Aaron's looking that up. We can kind of do our
research.
And kind of start our kind of final wrap up. And
I was going to say, didn't you have to get off at 1? But okay, don't.
But we need to reiterate. We want people to continue to watch and post about Lower Decks today, and keep it trending, keep it in the algorithms.
Absolutely.
Hashtag all hands on decks. Hashtag save Star Trek Lower Decks.
So was all hands on decks? Did that come to mind immediately, or did you work through other ones to get to it?
It's what everybody came up with immediately, and we went back to when nothing else seemed to be making sense. And having the S kind of like be canted, like, and like it's been stuck on at the end was kind of fun. Like, okay, that kind of,
You can't ignore it.
But that's what everybody, hey, we're doing this thing. And it's like, well, all hands on deck. We need everybody. So, Dayton Ward, I think, was one of the early ones who came up with that as well. So he kind of helped us workshop the name. And then we got the Stream-A-Thon, and then the Safe Star Trek, like, it kind of got conglomerated. It's it's
exciting.
It's Aaron's drunk. No, it is the kind of the pack-led logo of things.
Yeah.
The clump ship of that. But so that's where we came up with that.
Okay. You need the pack-leds need a clump drink or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They don't need to drink here. They need to be cut off. Although we did see a couple at Quarks a few times, so I don't know what they were tossing back. But
I was gonna say, aside from even physically going to DS9 and making all the DS9 jokes, like no, just keep circling the pylon.
Yeah.
I mean, just having having Nog and Lita and just updating. And so much of the Ferengi, the whole advertising and the fact that Quarks is licensed, and now they picked up on it.
Yeah.
Who else did that? Was it on Prodigy? One of the other shows had. Was it the
Picard? Picard had Quarks
on
on Stardust City Rag.
Who else would pick that up on? Yeah, and even later though, I thought some of the stuff the third season in all the sea of stuff, there was some
on Metalis Prime. Yeah, I think there was a Quarks there too.
I also love it's in that Deep Space Nine episode where it being like, we're gonna make Shax and Kira like buddies. Like I just love that
perfect.
so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
that damn thing right there in the middle.
But yeah.
But the pink?
No, the orange thing. That like orange barrel.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna big screen you.
This thing here, I zoomed in.
It
So
like
this,
I feel like it looks like
and
a,
it feels so familiar. Like
it
we
feels
thought
like
at
a
first it was
robot that'd
the.
be in like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
It's like
thought
a
it was the-
console or some like a high-tech container.
Yeah, we thought it was the containers for the grain in TAS's.
More trouble, more tribbles, more trouble.
Yeah,
Oh,
But
I
it's
don't-
not. It's
no.
very
It's not.
similar to that, but it's not.
the colors what is the same. I think that's
Yeah,
what
the colors. I mean, things are coming to mind like the Felicium container, not
Yep,
Felicium.
not that either.
The Antibian that Mick Fleetwood ate out of, but it's
No, that's
I
a
don't
barrel,
know.
I think.
Or the unit that Seska had on Voyager that they gave when they gave away transporter tech to the early on State of Flux. It was a standalone console, but I think it had a console with the. I mean, I'm thinking of like things
Yeah.
about that
It could be a
size.
Voyager thing. That might be.
That's Worf's
Or a DS9 that I just.
so whatever.
Because it feels like a
from
kind
Insurrect.
of Cardassian-ish. Could be.
Yeah, it's Cardassian or Bajornish or something.
Matthew in the chat room says it looks like a chess piece. It does kind of look like a chess piece.
It does.
Yeah. Oh yes, it's a large scale version of a 3D.
Yeah.
It was 50-foot Spock's Rook from the,
They also cloned his weird chess game on was it Vulcan chess? I think not Vulcan checkers. I can't remember. They had some sort of weird. It was the same or similar to Vulcan tridimensional chess, but it was just like flat Vulcan chess, like just regular.
We need to like
That was
all
on
tweet
TAS.
this out and be like, what is this?
No, wait, now hold on a minute. This is an anti-grav cart. Like the Barclay show where he became what X has X in the title. Nth degree.
Oh yeah, where he
And
became
that
the guy
looked like
from
an anti-grav
Batman movie.
cart. Remember that when they noticed that the dimensions were bleeding over and the stuff I forget what it was.
Oh yeah. Oh, maybe it's that. Maybe
it almost looks like a thing with I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm seeing it on the anti-grav cart there. But
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, because I know there was that glass that they left their fingerprint or like pushed through it or something. I don't know.
Anyway.
But that's a good starting point. But anyway, so that is the one thing that we have just not.
There's the regular chat. Okay.
If anyone can figure out what that is, please, by all means, tell us because
maybe we should put that out.
These guys have lost hours and hours.
It's been years at this point, so I'm not going to feel bad if Jorg hasn't never talked about it, so like I don't know.
He can't even figure it out.
Joel in the chat says is it not a it's a giant, it's a 50-foot Spock self-sealing stem bolt. That's right.
But yeah, this is like the level of detail that they do is that when you're at this point where you're like, okay, what is that?
Yeah,
because you know it has to be something.
It's from early season 2, like 3 years ago. We're still scratching our heads over it.
So ancient.
Either that or it really is the one thing that wasn't anything, and then Mike's never going to say it.
I could
and
see
Mike
that,
is just laughing at us somewhere, like
Oh yeah, they just drew a weird Star Trek looking thing just to throw us off.
He's developing. I've lots of things have happened. Plus, I moved, but it was so intriguing to me when they put out their official statement, and he and Alex both signed their names to say we haven't seen the last of Mariner, and all that.
Yeah,
so
that's what made me go like, oh, they didn't know this was the end. Like,
and I DM'd with him and I said, you better not be just saying that. And he said, no, we're working. He says nothing yet, and this was whenever it was months ago. No, nothing yet, but we're acting like
April 13th. It isn't that far.
Like, I got to get a new paycheck, guys. I'm off of this, also, which he does have a new paycheck coming.
We asked him to actually come on today, and he's just like, I have way too many things to do.
It is. I just feel badly because Talin is so intriguing, and she's having such a fun time and going to Gabrielle Rees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like having a lot of fun with it, and was just a natural. It's almost like how did you not do this in the beginning? How did you not have a Vulcan character?
Because I think they didn't want to be stereotypical. Maybe it kind of helps with it's not the Spock replacement, and everybody thinks of Spock. So I'm
okay, what is this? 1987 again? No, that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like Rick Berman, like no Vulcans, no Andorians, no Tellarites. Get them all out of here. You can mention Orions, but don't show them.
That was Gene. That was Gene's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Gene is having some issues towards the end where it's just like more crabbiness and not feeling
The,
well.
the
than really
micro
actually.
strokes were starting to set in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Davey was actually very similar to that. It was like, oh, this is what Gene was doing. This is why he made the weird thing
Now-
about TAS. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Early Next Generation makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, it's sad, but that's
Yeah.
Anyway, when you hear writers and people talk about, not aside from the whole chaos on the bridge and Leonard Maishlish, his attorney, sabotaging things, but even just Gene in the moment, and you hear writers talk about him just going off on something, and they're like, "What? Really? What?" And then it's and everybody around's like, "It's okay, we'll talk later." Kind of thing.
I think
Ira
that-
wanting to do Captain's Holiday, what was it?
yeah.
The whole thing, and Mike just going, "It's okay, Ira, we'll talk later."
Oh, the whole like Ryza thing where you're like,
Yeah,
can't do
like
that.
my captain is a hero, and he's the
Yeah.
James, he's the Matt Dillon, and he'd never do anything, off color or whatever. And they're like, "Really? You gonna snooze fest this series faster than anything?" Anyway,
Before we do leave, the one thing that I do want to
Lower
see,
Deck,
and I
yeah.
don't think we will see, but I would love to see it, is a TAS Lower Decks crossover. That we kind of got a little bit of that in those shorts that shall not be named. But yeah, I
you
think
can
that
name
would
a
be
couple
really
of
fun.
them. It's just
Yeah,
the
that's
other
true.
two.
The last two are
Yeah.
fine.
The last,
Yeah.
that
And the
was
song
really
is actually pretty
fun.
catchy.
Like a
I
typical
love-
Star Trek development arc. The later further you go,
That's true.
figure it out. Yeah.
That last episode was supposed to be the first, and it had so much animation and stuff they couldn't do that, and that's why it got. Because I'm almost.
Oh,
wow.
I'm
that
almost,
actually makes a lot of sense.
yeah, because they talk-
Imagine how the reception would have been if that had let
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
I think they'd be like, okay, these other two in the middle are not so great, but this last one was really good, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh well.
Yeah. Anyhow,
That's interesting.
it's only a 50th anniversary that won't ever come again. That's fine.
Hey, your book.
I'm
is
not
a little-
bitter.
Your book has a little thing for it now.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Well,
I'm gonna
50th
I'm gonna hang around for the 100th anniversary of TAS and
Okay.
make sure it gets a big celebration then.
Thank you.
So
I don't know if I'll be here. So 2073. Wow, that would
God.
that's insane.
I'll
Well,
be like
the Vulcans
Admiral
can
Picard
help us
age,
by
but
then.
Or McCoy. In
That's
the,
really like Admiral McCoy age.
yeah.
Oh my
right.
goodness! Well, have
So-
people been posting photos and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had somebody
we
do
got to
some.
Dead Ellis. We went to a museum. We just got back. That's why, and then we were in traffic stuck. So that's why I was late to bop on. But
Really quick, I'll short
Hope
this.
it's
We
been-
had somebody do
it's been-
a fan art, which is just
That's so cute.
it was so amazing. Share
Rick, if
screen.
nothing else, how do you not do good fan art from Lower Decks?
Yeah.
It's built
This,
for it. So yeah.
There we go.
The details
And
in this
end
are
on this note, actually, which is
adorable.
pretty cool.
yeah.
So we have
Oh,
them all watching the show. The coffee table, everybody has already said we need
Yeah.
somebody to build this for us.
Mhm.
And we have
Every
Boimler
time
in his sort of like zoned out Ferengi
and you have a moopsie on the cushion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
eating the bone.
Every time I look
Rutherford
at notice
holding
a
the-
new thing. The
Yeah.
cushion that Boimler's on is like Delta shaped.
Oh, I didn't even notice
Yeah.
that. You're
Oh,
right.
I know. I saw
Oh,
that.
wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
In fact,
nice.
I thought it was the
Badgie.
Badgie
Yeah.
until I see Rutherford.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, good job, Crystal. Thanks
Yeah.
again for
The lid
sharing
is
that.
just like
So cute.
ramrod straight.
Wait,
sitting-
wait. That's that mystery piece you can't identify. It's there in the back.
What? Oh, yeah. That would be funny.
Made you look. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
your next
plant can
your next fan art piece, Crystal, put that object that we had on screen earlier in there. And we need more conversation about that mystery object.
50-foot box rook piece. Yeah.
I'm glad you were able to.
2073.
The orange side.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were able to make it, Larry. It was good to
Yes,
to
thank
catch
you
up
very
with
much.
you
Yeah,
and
don't let me
celebrate
slow
Lower
down
Decks with you.
Your departure angle here, but yeah.
So
I-
everybody continue watching Lower Decks today.
Yes.
Use the hashtag all hands Lower Decks and no, yeah.
Do we want to
And,
chant?
Brave start.
You want to do the chant on our way out of here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I just wish I was sitting at the bar. Their bar doesn't.
Yeah.
Their lounge doesn't have a name, does it?
The Cerritos Bar.
The Cerritos.
just- yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I'll
Yeah.
show. I'll pick this up because I got the logo for the.
There we go.
Cerritos bar.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Here
You
it
got
is.
the only Lower Decks thing I have is I can't believe Alice walked right in and got them. Like I didn't know she even knew Moopsie. That kid is so smart.
I didn't even know that they. Oh, that was a 3D print.
Some artisan Etsy level did this.
I like it because it's not the same as
everything.
all the other ones sitting like walking
it's
on
just a
four legs.
simple,
Yeah.
turn,
Very cool.
not blackened.
Well, here's to Lower
Oh,
Decks and
yeah.
hopefully more
Yeah.
adventures.
Yeah.
It's not your drink, but I'll drink to that. As my best Ronin.
So chant as we go out.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Lower
decks.
Lower
Lower decks.
decks.
Lower decks. Lower decks.